You're listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. Congratulations, everybody, for making it early to the show. We're going to get going in under a minute here, but I want to give a big old congratulations to S. Hendricks over on YouTube for the first comment of the day award. Good job, S. All right, folks, we got a great show today. I do want to remind everybody, if you're not doing it yet, make sure to follow us on multiple platforms. That includes youtube.com/CanaryCryRadio, twitch.tv/CanaryCryRadio. We're also on DLive, Periscope, Facebook, all over the place. Remember, you're going to want to follow us in many places because you never know when we will just disappear on your favorite platform. So make sure to do that. And let's see, remember to like the video if you're over on YouTube. Like it now. You can always take it back, but it helps out the algorithms, helps out the show. Thank you so much. Okay, folks, stay hydrated and let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 19th, 2021. This is episode 302. And today, Polytick Theater. And I'm not the fifth element, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And I am trying not to be grumpy today.
Oh, trying so hard. Why is that?
Are
you working. Sad because Bitcoin has hit another all-time high of $55,000?
It just really can't break that 56,000 barrier.
So
it's really
sad
bothering
that
me.
So much Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Bitcoin's doing pretty well. My portfolio looks okay, and I hope people took our advice when not financial advice. We're not financial advisors, obviously, but we did tell people, hey, buy your Bitcoin when it was like 9,000, 10,000. So people who followed our lead are happy today, I guess. But
okay.
We'll see.
So you said you're not going to tell us why you're so grumpy. Is this episode's game? Is it the trivia question?
The trivia?
Listeners and producers, they have to follow the clues throughout the broadcast to figure out why Gonz is so grumpy.
Yeah, don't do that, because then people are going to be looking for things that aren't there. Just the vapor of my
okay.
Dropping
well, then
hints.
I'll say this. Hey, everybody, definitely don't look for clues as to why Gonz is so grumpy. Whatever you do, do not look for the hidden cipher within today's episode. Don't do it, or else.
Yeah, we bother people. There's somebody in the chat saying we need to get to the point. Get to the meat. Get to the meat.
That person is going to be sorely
the 3D fake meat.
Sorely disappointed.
Yeah,
if they're looking for a point of this show.
I think people have to realize that this is a time to hang out. You know,
it's that short attention span. It's the goldfish attention span, especially on social media. You know, something comes up, and you better get the point in the first 10 seconds, or else they keep scrolling. Yeah. On Instagram, I think they did a study. It's 1 second on Instagram. You have 1 second to keep people's attention, or else they keep scrolling. That's ridiculous. That's not this.
I don't think people realize how much people watching here probably understand this, but the psychological manipulation that has taken place to the degree where people are so eager to get their info in 3 or 4 seconds and digest all of it, which is impossible to do, by the way. You can't fully grasp something by just reading a headline or something.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the point. If you look at the overall arc of the mind control, the conditioning of the public, you want a class of people to only have a 1 second attention span, because they can be looking the truth right in the face that would change their entire paradigm of how they view power and government and structure and deception. They could look right at it. But if they miss it for 1 second, they just keep moving on. Got to see what the next little thing is. It's a wonderful control mechanism. I do want to give a shout out to 1 John 3:2 in the YouTube chat. I really like you guys and appreciate your work and your presentation, and the length of time it takes to get to the meat of the program is just perfect. So there you go. I was going to
say, this is very much a hangout. We do bring you the news, but it's more of a time to come in, hang out with us if you're live, and just be able to spend some time with some like-minded people, because we know
and
that
also flip your paradigm in ways that you never could have imagined.
Sure. But most of the sentiment we've gotten over the near 10 years we've been doing this is that I don't know anybody in my neighborhood or my community that's talking about this stuff. And certainly that's changed a little bit. But I think that's the idea here, is we're here to just hang out with you guys and make you feel like you're not alone.
It's definitely part of it. It's definitely one big valuable part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, should we just get to the point already, Gonz?
Yeah, this is one of the big points here. Keep in mind that if you want more people to find the show, you need to do this.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
That's right. Thank you very much for hitting the like button early on. That's the key. We got to get those likes early, or else nothing happens. Sure. Okay. So time for a Flippy update, Gonz.
Are you going to mention the silver thing real quick?
Yeah. Just Canary Cry silver giveaway still going on this month. In order to participate and get a chance to win 1 troy ounce of fine silver, so generously provided by Erin Moffat on YouTube. Check her out. Go ahead and make a social media post on wherever you do social media. Hashtag it Canary Cry News Talk. Post a link to an episode and say something nice. And each time you do that will be 1 entry to win a silver coin this month. It's awesome.
There you go. Very good.
Okay.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, folks, the moment you've all been waiting for. The Flippy update, for those who are new to the show, is a moment where we get to talk about Flippy. And Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. And we use talking about Flippy as a way to discover new and different ways that robotics and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Big news, Gonz. It takes so long for these rovers to get to Mars that we tend to forget about them. I mean, this one launched a few years ago, I believe, if I'm not incorrect. But anyways,
no, I thought it was 7 months. Oh, I heard 7 months to get there. I don't know how long ago they launched it, but.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see if we can learn something here. The headline, or the article reads, NASA successfully landed its 5th robotic rover, Perseverance, on the surface of Mars on Thursday after its 6-month voyage from Earth. Touchdown confirmed, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory Mission Control said at 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time. ET. Is that Eastern Time?
I think that's what they meant, but I think they also meant extraterrestrial. And then also Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, the occult center of American science.
There you go.
If you want to, Jack Parsons. Okay, go on.
Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life. Oh. Okay, weird thing to say. The rover is the most technologically advanced robot NASA has ever sent to Mars. The agency aims to spend nearly 2 years using it to explore the surface. NASA spent about $2.4 billion to build and launch the Perseverance mission, with another $300 million in costs expected for landing and operating the rover on Mars' surface. Based on its predecessor, Curiosity, which reached Mars in August 2012 and is still in operation, the Perseverance rover was built by NASA's JPL. in California. Multiple companies contributed to parts of the spacecraft, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the most exciting part, such as the Lockheed Martin built heat shield, the Aerojet Rocketdyne built rocket thrusters, and the Maxar Technologies built robotic arm. Flippy is on Mars, everybody. The Eagle has landed.
Yep, the deserts of Arizona. The rover has made it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at it myself, but I saw a video where they used Google Earth to find what they claim is the exact place where Perseverance allegedly,
the stage, the set.
Yes, the on location set there. Anyways, the Perseverance sent a video. Everybody was very excited, looking around. Very boring video of the alleged Mars surface. Somebody used Google Earth and found the place in Greenland. So
there you go.
Mars looks just like Greenland, according to this particular person. But there you go. So Flippy is either in Greenland or Mars. Either way, it's one small step for man, one giant leap for robotic arm.
Yeah, it says here that the rover, which is about the small size of a car, weighs about 1 ton and is 10 feet long by 9 feet wide and 7 feet tall. So it's pretty big. It has a robotic arm that reaches about 7 feet and ends, the end of which has a robotic hand that has a camera, a chemical analyzer, and rock drill. So Flippy hand's going to be pretty busy out there.
Yeah, Flippy has got a real job to do. And they also got this, this is also kind of a drone update because allegedly there is a Mars drone, a little helicopter guy that can come off of this rover and fly around and, I don't know, do tricks or something.
Yeah. Do you think this is part of the narrative to start preparing the masses for some kind of ancient civilization on Mars narrative?
I don't think it's the first step because I feel like there's been many steps that have taken in regards to that. But yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think if there's going to be any, they might find some microbes or something. I don't think the NASA, they're too what's the word? Conservative over there at NASA to go full on alien city on Mars. It's going to be like, we did it. We found aliens. I mean, we can guarantee. I'll make a prediction now. I'll give it 6 months. 6 months until we see another set of articles. NASA may have found the first aliens ever discovered. And then it'll be some sort of like bacteria remnant that they found under, 50 feet of Martian rock.
Some fossilized feces.
Not even that.
Not even that?
It's just going to be like, oh, we found a piece of a bacteria.
Yeah,
aliens.
It shows a picture of the landing site here, and then it's got the Phoenix in sight. Phoenicia. Yeah, getting interesting there. And then it says the rover has the names of 10.9 million people stenciled into 3 silicon chips on the rover with the words "Explore as one" written in Morse code. Yeah, not hive-mindy whatsoever. Mars rover Perseverance. So it's curious, then it's going to persevere, and then what's next? What do you what's
destroy?
Conquer.
It'll be a rover that just has a nuclear warhead on it, and they're like, oh, we found the aliens, the bacteria. We found an alien bacteria. It's very hostile. It's expressed desires to destroy all humanity, and so we must blow up Mars.
They don't deserve life on Mars. Okay, well, there you go. Good job, Flippy. You're expanding into different dimensions, it appears.
All right, should we talk about some politics?
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
They'll suck your blood. They'll suck
Politics.
your blood.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah, we have a Ghislaine Maxwell update here. This is dailymail.co.uk. Is it Ghislaine or Ghislaine? I don't know. Ghislaine Maxwell admitted Jeffrey Epstein did have tapes of Trump and Clinton after she was tricked by 60 Minutes producer in 2016, quote, but refused to help locate them because she wanted Hillary to win.
Ah, what a classic storyline.
Yep. It says here, Ghislaine Maxwell appeared to admit Jeffrey Epstein was taping his famous friends, including Donald Trump and the Clintons, during a 2016 meeting with former CBS producer Ira Rosen, a new book reveals. The British socialite who is accused of procuring underage girls for the billionaire pedophile reportedly told Rosen she didn't know where such recordings were after the Emmy-winning producer asked her to hand over footage of Trump. Hand it over, Ghislaine. The conversation took place ahead of the 2016 U.S. presidential election, and Maxwell, who supported Hillary at the time, refused to help, saying, quote, if you got the tapes on Trump, you have to do Bill Clinton. The anecdote is included in Rosen's new book, Ticking Clock, Behind the Scenes at 60 Minutes, releasing Tuesday. This is a book PR stunt, I would say, in which she dishes about his time working at the investigative show. The book sheds new light on reported claims that Epstein had secretly recorded his celebrity friends having sex with women and underage girls at his home and then used the footage to blackmail them. Two of Epstein's victims, Maria Farmer and Virginia Roberts Guffrey, have previously claimed that they saw a room full of CCTV monitors in a room at his $65 million mansion in New York, with some cameras installed in the bathrooms. In his memoir, Rosen reveals he arranged a meeting with Maxwell in early 2016 and, acting on hunch that tapes existed, tricked her into confirming they did. I want the tapes. I know he, Epstein, was videotaping everyone, and I want the tapes of Trump with the girls, Rosen told her.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, nice tactic there, buddy. Maxwell replied, I don't know where they are. Rosen writes, he told her to ask Epstein, adding that, quote, fate of the country's at stake.
Oh, wow.
He's really going for it. Quote,
yeah, this was back when, Trump was just sort of an evil genius, not yet president. But yes, the assumption was that it would destroy all of America.
Yeah, this was the grab him by the cats video. That's my euphemism. Was probably trending, before the 2016 elections. The locker room talk by Trump, that was out there, and so anything to top that, the only thing that can top it was probably a Epstein type tape there. This is Rosen continuing on here, pushing the FUD. Trump could be elected president, and how would you feel if those tapes emerged after he was in office? Rosen asked Maxwell. She gave me a stern look and pointed a finger in my face. She said, I am the daughter of a press baron. I know the way you people think. If you do one side, you must do the other. If you get the tapes on Trump, you have to do Clinton. Rosen replied, I will. I will go wherever the story goes.
Whoa. I don't remember seeing this. Have you seen this 60 Minutes thing from 2016?
Are they saying that this is actually on air, or is this like behind the scenes talk?
Oh, I don't know. They were just saying it was a 60 Minutes thing.
Yeah,
so.
I think, and maybe if I missed it, I think they're saying this is like the behind the scenes conversation that Rosen had with
I see. And
Maxwell.
It's told in this book that we all have to go buy.
His arrangement was, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was recorded.
Okay.
And then it goes on here. According to Maxwell, however, Epstein allegedly never told her of the whereabouts of the tapes, Rosen writes. Maxwell, quote, Maxwell didn't want Trump elected, but said that Hillary Clinton was comfortably ahead and there was no need for the story to come out. Besides, she said, Epstein never shared with her the location of the tapes. Flight logs have revealed that Bill Clinton took at least 26 flights on Epstein's private jet known as the Lolita Express. Everybody knows about that. Reports have claimed that Clinton also went to Epstein Island in the Caribbean, but he has denied this and always claimed he flew on the plane through his work at the Clinton Foundation.
Right.
Yada. Trump and Epstein were friends. We know that. There's like pictures of them hanging out at parties. At the end of the night, Rosen said he hailed Maxwell a taxi and she asked if he was going back to her place. Quote, "Get me the tapes and I'll go back to your place," he replied. That's
Yikes.
Weird. What is going on here? But Maxwell gave him a kiss on the cheek and left.
Okay.
This is like I don't know, it's like a scene out of a really horrible movie. Rosen writes that he thinks that wealthy men in Palm Beach invested with Epstein after being extorted with pictures from nights of debauchery. The encounter was his second meeting with Maxwell. Rosen writes that he also saw Maxwell at a book party at the Four Seasons Hotel in New York in 2014 after she met her future husband, Scott Borgerson, and that she had approached him wearing a, quote, "sexy red dress" and asked for a ride home. Quote, "Once she turned to me in the front seat with an offer, quote, 'If you come in and bleep me, I will tell you the secrets of my father,' Maxwell said," Rosen writes. Maxwell was referring to Robert Maxwell, the disgraced British newspaper tycoon who was rumored to have been an Israeli intelligence agent and I think that's confirmed. It's not a rumor.
So is he writing about a near romantic encounter that he had with
it's almost
Maxwell?
It's almost like he's talking about
I'm trying to understand what the through line of this whole thing is. I'm not sure if I do.
It's almost like he's saying, like, look how I'm elite, but not that kind of elite. You know, I came close. I rubbed shoulders.
Oh, he's trying to like make a point that he's not in the bad guy team or something.
This could be a PR move for him. You know, like
we'll see. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There might be something in the works that he's trying to get ahead of.
Yeah. Then Maxwell was referring to Robert Maxwell, the disgraced British newspaper tycoon who was rumored to have been an Israeli intelligence agent and died under mysterious circumstances on his yacht in the Canary Islands in 1991. Ew, I know, yacht. Canary Islands there. We need to just buy that place and just call it our commune, you know? We should do that.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know, it's not going to happen. Quote,
I think Oprah has an island over there too.
Oh, no. Can't we call Oprah and can't she be like, "You get an island, you get an island"?
Yeah, she's probably watching the show. The Oprah, just to go ahead and buy all the islands for us.
Help us out. I'm sure you got some of the
Oprah, famous Canary Cry fan.
Yeah, you got some of the big corn there. Spread it around. All right.
Nice.
Quote, "I was stunned and speechless, my mind racing. I was not about to sleep with her, but the reporter in me still wondered if her information would make a good 60 Minutes piece," he added. Always on, always working. Rosen said he told Maxwell, quote, "What a great offer, but I left my dog home alone and I really need to get back to her." Oh, the classic dog at home trick. "It was a lame excuse and she knew it. She smiled weakly and said goodnight." Among those who have claimed that there were secret recordings of Epstein's properties in David Boies, a lawyer who represents a number of his victims. He said that Britain's Prince Andrew, yada, yada, yada. I think the rest of it's more of some of the history of Ghislaine and what's going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's the claim. So this isn't really, so this isn't Ghislaine Maxwell claiming it. It is the
it's not one of her, she's not a, to use the expression, a singing canary in jail right now.
No.
This is all from some report from this guy that happened allegedly in 2016.
So you're right.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well,
yeah, I mean, it loses some of its, I don't know, find out this is like a third hand.
I think it's not really a big surprise.
No,
But
it's not.
those who have been following the Epstein story, which we've been doing for like 5 years or something, I mean, this is a longer saga than just his most recent incidences, and Maxwell's been a part of it the whole time. But yeah, so I don't think this is surprising that we know that there are tapes out there. That was kind of the whole thing. That was the whole Mossad operation.
Right. The whole blackmail operation, the honeypot.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
how's she doing in jail?
Well, apparently, according to the New York Post here, Ghislaine Maxwell says she's losing her hair and was abused by guards behind bars. So not doing well, apparently.
Not having a great time.
Yeah, she's really there.
Yeah, it's so funny. Most of the stories that come out about Maxwell is her lawyer complaining about how bad jail is.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no kidding. That's the whole point. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. New York Post. Ghislaine Maxwell says she's losing her hair and was abused by a guard behind bars. Ghislaine Maxwell was physically abused, by a jail guard during a pat down. Oh no! All pat downs are physical abuse, if you ask me.
Yeah, true.
During a pat down search, and is quote withering to a shell behind bars. Guilt will do that to you.
I think this is getting ahead of her showing up in public with a bald head. Trying to get some sympathy.
Yeah, the old sympathy baldness.
The Britney Spears, the Britney Spears thing. Remember?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if that was necessarily. Yeah, she had her own little episode there. Yeah. Dropping weight and losing her hair. An attorney for the accused madam, calling her a madam, said in court papers filed Tuesday. The letter to Judge Allison Nathan, Maxwell's attorney, complained about conditions she faces at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, including sleep deprivation, inedible food, and alleged abuse by a jail guard. The letter states Maxwell is subject to constant searches, about 4 per day, and surveillance by jail guards, which she claims is to make up for the Bureau of Prisons' failure to prevent alleged cohort Jeffrey Epstein from killing himself in 2019. Yeah, no kidding. That's the whole point. You take your eye off this lady for a second, and suddenly the surveillance cameras are going to go out, and there's going to be a mysterious noose appear that was never there before. So,
yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know if there's much else. Miss Maxwell continues to be at the mercy of a revolving group of security officers who are used to guarding hundreds of inmates, but now focus their undivided attention exclusively on one respectful middle-aged female pretrial detainee, Maxwell's attorney Bobby Sternham wrote. Wow.
There's a sentence in here. It says Sternheim added in the note that Maxwell is awakened constantly during the night because guards flash a light at the ceiling of her isolation cell every 15 minutes.
She's a
light sleeper.
She's from a certain class of people. Yeah, a light sleeper. They're not even shining it in her face. They're just shining it at the ceiling of her cell.
I mean, I'd be troubled.
This was interesting here.
Yeah.
Quote, recently out of the view of security camera, watch out, Ms. Maxwell was placed in her isolation cell and physically abused during a pat-down search. When she asked that the camera be used to capture the occurrence, a guard replied no. And Ms. Maxwell recoiled in pain. And when she said she would report the mistreatment, she was threatened with disciplinary action, Sternheim. It's interesting how they're not saying exactly what this abuse is. Was it a punch? Was it a slap? Was it, I don't know. Who knows? But they are, the prison guards aren't famous for being gentle during searches.
Sure. And Miss Maxwell is used to having the cameras do all the work for her. So go into camera view. She's part of the whole... the whole video thing. So
yes,
she's
the honeypot.
Honeypot. So have it off camera, not comfortable with that apparently when it comes to her own situations.
Yes.
All
right.
So,
well, there you go. It goes on and on, but it's just about how mistreated she's being. Oh no. Let's see here. What you got? Something next? What's next?
I do. Yes, it's a circle. This is a screenshot, and I'll read through it here. But I remember when you were really stoked about the militia forming in Minneapolis. When
I don't know if I'd characterize it that way.
Oh,
but
you were
yes.
stoked. You were so excited. You're like, this is how it should be.
Community patrols. The community. No. Stop making me out to be some Antifa enthusiast. I was just, yes, I was proud of the citizens for when the police were not responding. The citizens of Minneapolis had put together community patrols.
Right.
Exercising their Second Amendment rights.
Right. Well, this series of headlines tells the story of the situation in Minneapolis after all the race war stuff that happened last summer. And the headlines are from NPR. Well, I'll just read it. NPR. Minneapolis Council moves to
These are headlines.
These are headlines. And
you're reading a set of headlines.
That tells a story, yes. NPR. Minneapolis, this is back in June of 2020. Minneapolis Council moves to defund police, establish holistic public safety force. I think that was, I don't know if you were on board with the holistic public safety force.
Yeah, this was not the community patrols. This was their, get social workers to take the place of police, etc.
Right. So a little bit further, a little bit later, the Washington Post reported Minneapolis violence surges as police officers leave department in droves, which makes sense. You defund the police and crime goes up. And then moving on, in September of 2020, Minneapolis City Council alarmed by surge in crime months after voting to defund the police. Yeah, of course. And then later on, NPR News. With violent crime on the rise in Minneapolis, City Council asks, where are the police? And then next, some Minneapolis City Council members would like a redo on defunding the police report. And then that takes us to February of 2021. Minneapolis to spend $6.4 million to recruit more police officers.
Okay, so the 6 month there's a 6 month experiment about defunding the police, and it did not work out too well.
Did not go well. And I mean, come on, did we not? I mean, people must have known that this was going to happen. Like,
of course,
common
they did.
sense.
We did. Everybody did. This. I mean, it was such an obvious, serious series of events. I think it's funny. I mean, I think 6 months. That's pretty short. Even for, for anybody's predictions on how long it would take for them to discover that this would be a bad idea. I think I was assuming it would take about a year for things to get bad enough to reverse it. But yeah, no, 6 months and they're turning around.
Yeah, no good. So I just thought that was a pretty...
Not even 6 months. Yeah, about 6 months.
Yeah, about 6-7 months. But yeah, that was a pretty good roundup of the last 6 months in the social justice, equality, race war, BLM movement there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do the people that were really pushing defund police, are they still at it? Because it's really died down. I haven't heard anything.
I don't know.
That.
You don't hear. Well, of course, since Biden takes the helm, you do not hear about any Black Lives Matter protests or anything like that still going on. They are still going on. There's huge. Yeah. Ever since, I mean, I think there's been a Black Lives Matter protest a few times a week ever since the inauguration. It's just the media isn't covering it anymore because you don't want to make Biden seem like the bad guy.
Well, he doesn't need to be labeled the bad guy because he's a flip flopper.
Got hairy legs. Got hairy legs.
Flippity floppity. Okay, so this is a tweet that went out on February 7th, 2021 by the Department of State of the United States Government Organization. That's a really weird tag there on Twitter. It's the State Department Twitter, and it says United States Government Organization. At POTUS Biden. And he actually, let me just play the video here. You can hear him say it himself about China.
We'll also take on directly the challenges posed by our prosperity, security, and democratic values by our most serious competitor, China. We'll confront China's economic abuses counter its aggressive, coercive action to push back on China's attack on human rights, intellectual property, and global governance.
Okay, so there you go. Sounds like he's going to be tough on China. And then if you recall what he said in the last episode.
Chinese leaders, if you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home. So the central, to vastly overstated, the central principle of Xi Jinping is that there must be a united, tightly controlled China. And he uses his rationale for the things he does based on that. I point out to him, no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States. And so the idea, I'm not going to speak out against what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in western mountains of China, and Taiwan trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful. I said, and by the way, he said he gets it. Culture.
So what happened? I thought he was going to be tough.
You missed the last part, though. That very last part, the cultural tolerance.
He gets it. Culturally, there are different norms at each country, and their leaders are expected to follow.
Yeah, so we've got to respect the cultural norms of genocide and, the control of the CCP.
So what happened to counter its aggressive, coercive action to push back on China's attack on human rights, intellectual property, and global governance?
Yeah, well, what happened was he went off script at that CNN town hall, and his PR people had to have him correct the record there. The reality czar came in and had a couple notes.
I would like to present these two things for any Biden supporter, just side by side. I mean, this is 2 weeks apart, not even less than that. February 7th, February 16th. In 9 days, we have a complete flip flop of the narrative given by Biden concerning China. I mean, what? I don't know. How do you support this guy? How does anyone support this guy?
Nobody does. It's just the system, man. It's just the system. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of China, we should talk about some vaccine news.
Vaccine.
A pandemic special.
And
welcome to Chinese News.
Woo! Okay, this is coming from ibtimes.sg. This is International Business Times. Wuhan Lab to receive U.S. taxpayer funding to conduct bat research until 2024. Have we learned nothing? What is going on? The article reads, the Wuhan Institute of Virology is eligible to receive U.S. taxpayer funding to conduct animal research until January 2024. The National Institute of Health said. That's Fauci. The lab that is at the center of widespread speculation. Yeah, good for them. They called it speculation and not conspiracy theory. The lab that was at the center of widespread speculation that the deadly coronavirus entered the human population in China following an accidental lab leak. That's interesting. That is an incomplete sentence. The lab that is at the center of the widespread speculation that the deadly coronavirus entered the human population in China following an accidental lab leak. Period. Okay. Researchers at the lab were studying bat-based coronaviruses before the outbreak, research that was backed by $600,000 in U.S. taxpayer funds that were routed to the lab through EcoHealth Alliance, a non-governmental research group that focuses on emerging diseases caused by human and animal interactions. The president of EcoHealth Alliance, Peter Daszak, was the only American member of the World Health Organization delegation that investigated the origins of COVID-19 pandemic in China in January and this month. So this guy, this Eco Health Alliance, Peter Daszak, was this the organization that sounds like a big fancy organization, but was based in England somewhere, and it was run out of some ramshackle office with boarded up windows, and there was only one employee named Peter Daszak, and that was it.
I don't know.
And he's just responsible for funneling money to quote unquote, health care research all over the world.
I don't remember, but I do recall us reporting literally as soon as the whole lockdown happened last year, probably April of 2020, of the actual documents that showed the U.S. money, or the U.S., the NIH, and the Wuhan Lab working together, and the money being flowing over there.
Since 2015, they'd been getting millions of dollars or something. While the delegation is yet to release a report on its findings, Daszak said the White House should accept their conclusion that it was extremely unlikely the virus could have leaked from the Wuhan lab.
I think last episode we mentioned this Daszak guy. He's the guy that went in there, and we basically said, or maybe a couple episodes ago, we said how he had to say that nothing, there was no evidence that it came from a lab so that he can leave the country. Remember, that was our theory.
Right. Well, this was the delegation of scientists or whatever who were investigating the Wuhan theories. Was it the wet market? Was it where exactly did it come from?
Right.
The investigation that was held up for 10 months by the Chinese government. And then when the delegation actually got there, they were basically led around on a leash by the Chinese government to see what evidence they could be, again, handed by the Chinese government. They didn't there's the investigating that's more of a that's a very, colorful way to put what actually happened over there.
Double speak.
Anyways, Daszak also slammed U.S. intelligence last week after the State Department raised doubts over the transparency of Beijing's cooperation with the WHO delegation's investigation, as previously reported. Okay, good. So there you go. 3.4 million NIH grant to Eco Health Alliance. In 2014, the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the part of the NIH headed by Dr. Anthony Fauci, awarded a $3.4 million grant to the New York-based Eco Health Alliance. Okay, so this is in New York, which aims to research bat-based coronaviruses in China. Okay, right. So there was $3.4 million specifically given to the Wuhan Lab, specifically to research bat-based coronaviruses in China. Just happened to be where the first cases of the new coronavirus came from. The grant was terminated by the NIH in April amid criticism over Eco Health Alliance's relationship with the WIV, the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The NIH said in a letter the nonprofit's work in China did not align with, quote, program goals and agency priorities. In July, the NIH told Eco Health Alliance that it would restore the grant if it met certain conditions, including one that required an outside team to inspect the Wuhan lab, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. So there you go. They needed to get a clear bill of health on this Wuhan lab, or else the money stops flowing.
The money stops. Yep. That makes a lot
and
of
just
sense.
happens to be that this guy who is set to directly benefit from the Wuhan lab being, cleared, given the green light, was the one going over doing the investigation.
Is there a conflict of interest there? Maybe a little bit?
Nothing to see here, Gonz. How dare you question the Eco Health Alliance and their motives? They would never do anything to bring into question the sanctity of taxpayer dollars flowing into the Chinese government. Anyways, the WIV still has an active PHS-approved animal welfare assurance with the NIH Office of Laboratory welfare, which allows it to continue receiving U.S. taxpayer funds to conduct animal research. The WIV's foreign assurance was approved on January 9th, 2019, and is set to expire on January 31st, 2024. However, it is not yet known whether the Wuhan-based lab is currently receiving U.S. taxpayer funding directly or indirectly for research involving animals. Okay, so nothing to see here, Gonz. We're just going to keep giving money to the lab that is suspected of creating and dispensing the coronavirus.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to find that document, the copy of the document that we had, showing exactly the proof that they were receiving money that we covered from last year, and I think I might have it here. But yeah, I mean, part of this too, the last sentence there, the WIV's foreign assurance was approved January 9th, 2019, which means that was during the Trump administration, but obviously 2019, a year before everything happened. So Trump
Fauci was still in charge.
Yeah. It's just interesting how if it did come across Trump's desk, he was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Experiment on the bats, but do it in China."
I don't even know if this would come across his desk
wouldn't.
is the thing.
Yeah, probably
I
wouldn't,
don't even. I mean, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But the president. That's why you have these other little institutions to make moves without having to run everything by the president.
You should run every decision ever made should be run through the president, and then Biden.
Well, and there were times early on that Trump was even. He was bringing up the fact that taxpayer dollars were going over to China and how wrong that was. So I don't know. That could have all been part of the act. But either way, yeah, Fauci's been funneling money over to this specific Wuhan Institute of Virology for at least 5 years.
Yes. And I have the PDF here. It's a Nature article. And let's see. This is, Nature Medicine. A SARS-like cluster of circulating bat coronaviruses show potential for human emergence. And this was published in 2015 by Nature American. Talks about this synthetically re-derived and infectious full-length SCH014 recombinant virus and demonstrate robust viral replication. Our work suggests a potential risk of SARS-CoV reemergence from viruses currently circulating in bat populations. And then you go down, and I think there's a section here where it actually mentions the dollar amount. I just want to rehash this to show people that.
Well, it also mentions here specifically coming from the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Right, yeah. It mentions the Wuhan Institute
in the footnotes
of Virology.
there, key laboratory of special pathogens and biosafety, Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Yes, and here it is. It's acknowledgments down here. Research in this manuscript was supported by grants from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and the National Institute of Aging of the U.S. National Institute of Health, NIH, under awards. And it's got the code of the awards, the U198, blah, blah, blah. And then it says the National Natural and by the National Natural Science Foundation of China Award, and the USAID EPT Predict funding from Eco Health Alliance. So there it is.
There it is.
And then I thought there was a dollar amount listed here, but maybe there wasn't. Maybe it was a different article that had the actual. I think it was like 3 million or something. And change that had been mentioned. But anyway, yeah, these documents are out there if you're willing to dig. It shows, before any of this hit the mainstream that this stuff was out there. But of course, we're just wild conspiracy theorists that don't know anything.
There you go.
It's incredible,
they're
though.
They're going to continue to funnel taxpayer dollars into this WIV.
Which, that makes me angry. As a tax-paying American, this should outrage everybody. Every American should be like, why can we at least just stop giving them money? Let them
that's why
figure
America loves to keep the coronavirus around. That's why other countries are less affected. Outside of Europe and the U.S., other countries are less affected. It's because they didn't pay for it. In America, when we pay for something, we like to keep it around for a while.
It's just ridiculous to be like, oh, we're going to crash our economy, and hey, you're going to have to pay for that continued research to create Batman. That's why I'm grumpy, folks. This is why I'm grumpy. Well, I read these stories and I get very upset. Okay.
Let's keep talking about animals a little bit here. The animals, we've got an animal theme for a couple of stories.
Sure.
This is coming from Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, I don't have the whole thing because I got a little paywall thing, but we can read a little bit here.
I got it here.
Well, I don't want to read the whole thing anyway, unless you want to. Unless you find something. Look for something towards the bottom that might be interesting, but I'll read the first couple paragraphs here. The headline from the Wall Street Journal, in hunt for COVID-19 origin, WHO, the World Health Organization team, focuses on 2 animal types in China. Oh, misdirection. Don't look at the bats. Nobody look at the bats. Let's look at what they're peddling here. World Health Organization investigators are honing their research for animals that could have spread the new coronavirus to humans, identifying 2 ferret badgers and rabbits that can carry the virus and were sold at a Chinese market where many early cases emerged. Members of the WHO team probing the pandemic's origins say further investigation is needed into suppliers of those and other animals at the market, some of which came from region of China near its Southeast Asian border, where the closest known relatives of the virus have been found in bats. Team members say they have yet to establish all the creatures sold, legally or illegally, live or dead, at the market in the Chinese city of Wuhan that was tied to the first
because
known
they've
clusters.
Been eaten a year ago.
More than that, like 2 years ago. China's National Health Commission and Foreign Ministry declined to comment. Ooh, that's a surprise. And it goes on here, and I hit the paywall there. So I don't know. Is there anything else interesting in this article?
Here's a fun thing. It's Peter Daszak, a zoologist on the WHO team.
Oh, he's the one?
They don't mention, that's what I'm saying. They don't mention that he's from the EcoHealth Alliance that specifically funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So it says they just call him a zoologist here. Peter Daszak, a zoologist on the WHO team, said in an interview that ferret badgers were among carcasses found in freezers at the market, and that while they tested negative, they were capable of testing the virus. Again, a useless thing to say. Oh, they found this one animal, but there was nothing in there, but I guess it could. Okay, thanks, Peter Daszak. And then they just talk about ferret badgers some more. So there you go. There's that Peter Daszak guy again, who, again, they don't mention was the direct funder of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, but instead call him a zoologist on the HWO team. Who cleared the very institute for not having leaked the virus, or at least that it's extremely unlikely, which of course it is. It's a level 4 lab. It should be extremely unlikely, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. This whole year has been extremely unlikely. So, yeah. Sorry, poor ferrets and rabbits. They just keep knocking out these tiny little mammals, man. They killed all those ferrets or those minks over in Europe. Man, it's just not a good year.
That's what I'm saying.
We have a ferret genocide.
Well, it's just little cute creature genocide, and I don't know. This again, it makes me grumpy. All right, let's move on here. This next story doesn't make it any better. This is gov.uk press release. World's first coronavirus human challenge study receives ethics approval in UK. What does that mean? The UK will be the first country in the world to run a COVID-19 human challenge study. And it says backed by £33.6 of UK government investment. The first of its kind study for this virus will involve establishing the smallest amount of virus needed to cause infection, which will give doctors greater understanding of COVID-19 and help support the pandemic response by aiding vaccine and treatment development. We already have the vaccine out there.
This is an actual human challenge study.
Oh, yeah. Due to begin in the next few weeks, it will involve up to 90 carefully selected healthy adult volunteers being exposed to the virus in a safe and controlled environment. The safety of volunteers is paramount, which means this virus characterization study will initially use the version of the virus that has been circulating in the UK since March 2020 and has been shown to be of low risk in young, healthy adults. But even still, we got to lock down the entire country and crash the economy.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting because just for a little background, that there's never been a human challenge study on the coronavirus. And for those who need a refresher, it's one thing to study people who naturally catch the virus or catch COVID. It's an entirely different thing to do a challenge study, which is specifically giving people coronavirus in order to study it. These challenge studies are obviously dangerous and have weird ethical concerns, especially when there's no cure for it, no cure or no therapeutics for it. And in fact, challenge studies, I don't know the laws in the UK, but in general, if there's no therapeutic or cure or, some sort of way to respond to somebody having the coronavirus, which as of now is not widely being reported. Of course, over the year, we've seen things like hydroxychloroquine and remdesivir and one that starts with an I. It's escaping me right now. Ivermectin, things like that. Or the Regeneron therapeutics, that that have been banding about. But of course, if you talk about any of those things, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist and just get the vaccine, citizen. But to do a challenge study with no ability to cure the people that you are purposefully infecting is seen to be really unethical. And so the fact that they're even starting these challenge studies suggests that they are fairly confident that they're able to cure these people.
Well, not just cure, but it's not going to kill them. That they're not going to die.
Yeah, sure. That too. Yeah. But I mean, there have been, so it's all of those things.
Yeah.
So the fact that challenge studies are even beginning should be a little hint to everybody that things are going to be fine.
I know. Well, let's read a couple more paragraphs here to get an idea of what they're doing here. It says that medics and scientists will closely monitor the effect of the virus on volunteers and will be on hand to look after them 24 hours a day. Surveillance? Ever have a feeling of being watched?
Yes.
The researchers
extra surveillance for doing the study.
The researchers are also working very closely with the Royal Free Hospital in North Central London Adult Critical Care Network to ensure the study will not impact the NHS's ability to care for patients during the pandemic. The study will not begin without their go-ahead. Once this initial study has taken place, vaccine candidates, which have proven to be safe in clinical trials, could be given to small number of volunteers who are then exposed to the COVID-19 virus, helping to identify the most effective vaccines and accelerate their development. Researchers are encouraging people aged between 18 and 30 years old who are at the lowest risk of complications resulting from coronavirus to volunteer for this vital study. Volunteers will be compensated for their time they spend in the study. And Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng said, quote, researchers and scientists around the world have made incredible progress in understanding COVID-19 and developing critical vaccines to protect people. While there has been very positive progress in vaccine development, we want to find the best and most effective vaccine for use over the longer term. These human challenge studies will take place here in the UK and will help accelerate scientists' knowledge of how coronavirus affects people and could eventually further the rapid development of vaccine. It kind of goes on here, but, part of this, what do you think? Like you said, it's kind of like it's a test to find out. Their end game here is to see which vaccine is the most effective and which one they could pour more money into, but I can see this being a game show. Or like they're probably going to make a documentary or something out of it, a news, what do they got? A BBC special or something going to come out of it?
It's a good version of Survivor.
Yeah. But
Survivor, COVID edition.
COVID human challenge. Yeah. That's what they should really do. And then they could really get some momentum behind this kind of thing. But I don't know. It just seems, they keep saying that we're in a pandemic, has there ever been a situation where we are in a pandemic where they purposefully do a human challenge study in the past? Well,
we haven't been in a real pandemic for 100 years, apparently.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, even the way it's defined now is questionable, and I think that's what I'm trying to get at here is.
They had to change the definition of pandemic in order to
2010,
to fit what's going on.
I know. But I mean, think about that. Just logically, objectively looking at it, at any point in history, when there was a Black Plague, was there a group of scientists like, hey, we're going to give you Black Plague to see how we can better treat it? Like, no.
Yeah, I don't know if there were a group of scientists back during the Black Plague.
Yeah, but anyway, you get my point there. They're not going to have volunteers.
I hear you. I mean, the point of this is, they must not be too afraid of coronavirus if they're purposefully giving it to people. Yeah. Especially, there's been, and these tests are for the vaccine. It's interesting why you would even need to do a challenge study of 90 people when apparently we've given vaccines out to tens of millions of people. And why even bother with the 90 in the challenge thing? You've got over 10 million people who are already in a challenge study. They just didn't sign the waiver.
This is all part of how the government can continue to enforce its compliance mechanism, its iron fist on the people. And it's not. I don't feel like it's anything else other than that. But,
speaking of iron fist, should we see what the Pope is up to? This is from speaking of vaccines, RT.com. Vatican says employees who refuse COVID-19 vaccine could lose their jobs. Oh, no. Pope. The Vatican has effectively made COVID-19 vaccination mandatory for its employees, warning those who decline to receive the shot that they could face dismissal. I think it's interesting how they say could face dismissal. They're not saying that you will be fired unless you get the vaccine. This is a great way for leadership to kind of pick and choose who they're going to allow to get the vaccine or allow not to get the vaccine, rather. Yeah. And there's not much else to report. This is just a fun little headline.
Yeah. It's no vax, no vat. Yeah. All right, let's fly through a couple more of these stories here. This one is from NBCnews.com. Pfizer says South African variant could significantly reduce vaccine protection. Okay, so get all the jabs, people. We need to get the jabs. Get the jab.
Yeah, you got to subscribe to the jabs.
And then the South African variant, doesn't work anymore. We need new jab. New jab. So, yeah, that's the story.
Oh, okay.
Moving on. Yeah. There's not much else. This is Pfizer just trying to get more money, probably. This is funny. I was talking to a neighbor, just Lib Joe type neighbor, and he was so mad because he was like, I have a coworker, and she invested in Lululemon before the pandemic, and her stock was flying. And who's buying Lululemon pants? I invested in Pfizer before everything. I hit it on the target, and my stock just keeps going down. He was like so mad. He was so mad that he invested in Pfizer. He thought he jackpot, when they started talking about Pfizer being the main vaccine company. He's mad.
That's so funny. That says so much about the actual position that we're in.
I know. It's
He's hilarious. Losing money on Pfizer, and Lululemon's going through the roof.
Skyrocketing. Yeah, I got to get those leg huggers, the $250 pants.
Oh, man. Got to start a Kickstarter.
Yeah, CNN.com. More than 130 countries still don't have a single COVID-19 vaccine, while 10 countries have already dispersed 75% of all vaccines. The UN says. The
like
UN,
an inequality thing.
Oh, yeah, the UN is really just
making
this from?
Sure.
CNN.
Oh, of course. Okay.
Yeah, so poor countries suppressed by rich countries is basically what they're getting at here.
This is interesting. This always comes up in the conversation of inequality as well, where, these poor countries aren't getting the vaccines. And of course, in a perfect world, according to CNN, everybody could get a vaccine for free. But these poorer countries are not having as big of a problem with COVID. That's one of the biggest mysteries of this whole thing. Case rates and fatality rates are a fraction, if they even exist, in poorer countries than in richer countries. It's America that has these crazy skyrocketing numbers. You look at many African countries or Southern Asian countries, these types of places, there's really not that much COVID going around. I wonder why that would be. Who knows? There's lots of theories on that. But yeah, there you go. And of course, the countries who have the money to pay for it are going to, this is another weird doublespeak thing, because this kind of connects to Bill Gates and his vaccines throughout the decades here. CNN saying it's so unfair that poorer countries are not getting these vaccines. Well, Bill Gates, when he's developing all his vaccines, he'll go to poorer countries to test his vaccines and, give them to poor African kids or something. And when they end up killing kids, that's the sickest part of it, is he's going off to other countries where people aren't paying attention, giving these experimental vaccines that are hurting people, and then whoops, that one didn't work. Okay, we're just going to shelve this one. And of course, CNN, you don't hear these other countries crying out for the vaccine. It's CNN. It's white liberal middle class,
on behalf of the UN
people.
Yeah, on behalf of the UN, complaining for them.
Well, sure, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. And this is I'd imagine the 130 countries are like, yeah, we're good, we're fine. And then the UN is coming in. It's so unfair that you guys don't have the vaccines.
It's the boogie monster. It's the not that inequality doesn't exist, but using it to get these weird agendas across and hurt people is not a great way to do it.
Yeah, well, it's shaping society regardless. This is a good time to play my new ISO here. Again, I was watching X-Men Apocalypse, and I didn't realize that the Build Back Better propaganda was right there. The Apocalypse is a Build Back Better guy.
Okay.
They've built will fall, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one.
Oh yeah, that sounds just like CNN.
That's what I'm
sounds
saying.
Just like Biden.
That's what I'm saying. They just they showed their hand in Apocalypse. It really was a revealing. But this is worldeconomicforum.org. Sweden says goodbye to parking spaces. Hello to meet spaces. Meet as or meeting spaces.
Meet space.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, the points here, Swedish residents are being looped into plans to improve their local communities with the aim of enabling people to access more facilities they need within their own neighborhoods. Pre-built furniture units are being used to replace parking spaces with tables, chairs, and plants. Under a similar idea in Paris, authorities are aiming to scrap 70,000 parking spaces as part of a drive to make the city greener. And what's ironic is, the greener concept includes a smart city and all these sensors and, Internet of Things and that kind of stuff, 5G. But can't have cars parking places anymore. So get rid of those parking spaces and replace them with benches and tables. Super spreader tables.
Well, you know why this is because, they're going to only allow electric vehicles starting pretty soon. And nobody's going to be able to afford it because it's so cold and the electricity is going to be so expensive. So everybody's just got to walk. And, if you got to walk everywhere, you got to stop and take breaks once in a while. So instead of parking your car, you got to park your butt.
Yep. And they have some, what are these things called? I forgot what they're called. Razors? They got like little razor parking stations in the picture here.
Razors?
They're little, yeah. They're
like scooters. You're talking about scooters.
Is it a scooter? Look at this.
What's a razor? When you say razor, what are you picturing in your mind?
It's got the handlebar, the two handles on a handlebar, and instead of
that's a scooter. Yeah, okay. You're talking about the electric scooters, like the Lime scooters, and the They love those things over there. Okay. So you get a little scooter parking.
Yeah.
No, Razor was a
brand,
very particular brand in the 90s.
Yeah,
of
the
foldable
Kleenex
scooters.
It's the Kleenex of tissue paper, right? Okay. Anyway, all right.
No, they're not.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like razor, I was introduced to these things as razors. I didn't. It became popular in my world as razors. They didn't call it scooters.
I hear you. I agree that this is how you feel. You are allowed to have feelings, and that is okay.
No,
but I don't know if there's very many people who would agree. But who knows?
Okay.
What do I know? I'm just a millennial.
Yeah. Go home. Actually, I'm a millennial too. I'm just one of the oldest ones.
Elder millennial.
I am literally the oldest millennial.
Literally,
yeah.
Wow.
I think.
Did you get a trophy? A certificate?
No. Based on the cutoff years, I think according to some people that drew lines, I'm literally like the first month.
The first millennial.
Born in the first month a millennial can be born.
It's an honor to be in your presence.
I know. I am the. You should listen to me. I'm the master.
You're not millennial. Just an elder millennial. You're the eldest millennial.
Okay. All right. Let's move on here. Well, we got a couple cancel culture updates here. Let me get the jingle going.
Hashtag cancel culture.
And before that, sorry, I think I skipped one. Oh yeah, I skipped one. I wasn't aware of this footage of who is this? Mark Zuckerberg talking about how the vaccine changes your RNA and DNA, and then later talking about how it doesn't change your RNA and DNA. So here's the video.
The DNA and RNA. DNA is. I share some caution on this because we just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA.
So when Zuckerberg said
is that these vaccines do not modify your DNA or RNA. No.
Spoken like a true politician, just flippity floppity.
So he was saying how it does modify your DNA and then took it back later.
Well, I don't know if he took it back or if he
flippy flopped.
Yeah, it was a flippy flop. So good old Zuckerberg there. It goes to show these people don't know what they're talking about. They go on these little calls and they just say things.
That's this myth of authority. It's this and that's what Bill Gates has built his whole career on. It's Zuckerberg displays it fantabulously, and of course, almost any politician relies on this. It's the what is it called? Not the myth. It's one of the logical fallacies. It's the authority fallacy or something like that, where just because somebody. Appeal to authority. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just because somebody is in some,
position of authority,
position of power, that they would be correct automatically. Right. And they just love this. They love it. They build their whole worldview on it. And that's why Bill is the way he is. Why are you the way you are, Bill?
Yeah, well, because he's Billy. This is the bridge here. This is the Facebook bridge to the cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
And this is Reuters.com. Undeterred by Facebook news blackout.
Oh, hold on. Let me take this one real quick.
Okay.
Thanks. Sorry.
Australia commits.
Yeah. Or Reuters.com. Undeterred by Facebook news blackout, Australia commits to content law. And want to give a shout out to our Australian producers and our Australian listeners, because you guys, I can't believe what you guys have to go through. And this is just another example. It seems like Australia is the next, it's kind of the current experimental zone for the English speaking world.
Well, they kind of figured, hey, we found the island nation was founded as a prison, so, you know, might as well just kind of go with it and bring it back to its roots.
Well, you know what? And the only reason that we get to bring that up is because American historians did such a good job of hiding the fact that the American colonies were also penal colonies.
Yes. Yep.
We just did we had better PR in America.
It's all about PR.
We made our colonization about religious liberty and things like that. No, it was a penal colony.
Yeah.
Where, yes, they did send the pilgrims. They call them pilgrims now. At the time, they were prisoners cast out by the government. But okay. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison vowed on Friday to press ahead with laws to enforce Facebook Inc. to pay news outlets for content, saying he had received support from world leaders after the social media giant blacked out all media. Facebook stripped the pages of domestic and foreign news outlets for Australians and blocked users of its platform from sharing any news content on Thursday, saying it had been left with no choice ahead of the new content laws. The move, which also erased several state government and emergency department accounts, as well as nonprofit charity sites, caused widespread outrage. Morrison, who blasted Facebook on its own platform for unfriending Australia, said on Friday the leaders of Britain, Canada, France, and India had shown support.
You know,
quote, there's a lot of...
Sorry, I just think it's very interesting and funny that we live in this world where, like, what are you gonna do about it? I'm gonna unfriend. You know, like, I'm going to click this button so it turns gray or whatever. Like, that's, you know, it's just it's so stupid that we live in that world now. Or that's like doing something. You're doing something now. You're unfollowed.
Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You got to talk to all these Gen Zers in a language they understand.
Sure.
Quote, there's a lot of world interest in what Australia is doing, Morrison told reporters in Sydney. Quote, that is why I invite Facebook to constructively engage, because they know that what Australia will do here is likely to be followed by many Western jurisdictions. Canadian Heritage Minister Stephen Guilbeault said late on Thursday his country would adopt the Australian approach as it crafts its own legislation in coming months. The Australian law, which will force Facebook and Google to reach commercial deals with Australian publishers or face compulsory arbitration, has already been cleared by federal lower house and is expected to be passed by the Senate within the next week. Australian Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said he had spoken to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg for a second time following the news blackout. Quote, we talked through their remaining issues and agreed our respective teams would work through them immediately. We'll talk again over the weekend, Frydenberg said in a tweet. In its statement announcing the move in Australia, Facebook said the Australian law misunderstood its value to publishers. Frydenberg earlier told the Australian Broadcasting Corp that, quote, there is something much bigger here at stake than just one or two commercial deals. This is about Australia's sovereignty. And keep that in mind. This is about Australia's sovereignty. Facebook and Alphabet Inc., owned Google, had campaigned together against the laws, with both threatening to withdraw key services from Australia if the laws took effect. Google, however, announced a host of preemptive licensing deals over the past week, including a global agreement with News Corp. Facebook restored some government pages on Thursday, but several charity, nonprofit, and even neighborhood groups remain dark. Facebook's move had an immediate impact on traffic in Australian news sites, blah, blah, blah. That's not very interesting. News Corp, let's see. We're almost done here. Facebook Facebook's move had an immediate impact on traffic to Australian news sites, according to early data from New York-based analytics firm Chartbeat. Total traffic to the Australian news sites from various platforms fell from the day before the ban by around 13% within the country and about 30% outside the country, the Chartbeat data showed. Similarly, traffic to Australian news sites from Facebook alone plummeted from around 21% to about 2% within Australia, and from about 30% to 4% outside the country. The News Corp Australasia executive chairman Michael Miller, testifying at an unrelated parliamentary hearing, confirmed the impact but said the number of Australians visiting the company's websites directly had risen. Quote, definitely referral traffic was non-existent, while at the same time direct traffic to our website was up in double digits, he told the inquiry. Miller also suggested antitrust regulator, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, should scrutinize Facebook's move. Okay, this has been something that's been happening kind of under the radar a little bit, at least if you're outside of Australia. So for American listeners, this might be news to you. So there's a growing movement, and recall how over the past few months we've been talking about this battle between big tech, in this case specifically Facebook and Google, to battle with big tech and sovereign nations, nation states, governments. Mm-hmm. You know, we even had Vladimir Putin talking about how big tech is trying to act like a government and, you know, kind of putting his Putin sauce on it, almost threatening big tech. And
Putin
this
sauce,
continues. Huh? Yeah, Putin sauce. And this is a big step in that direction. And, you know, again, it's so tough being right about everything, Gonz, but somehow we manage. This is another step in that war, another battle in that war, where Australia, being the first to pull the trigger, but there's plenty of other countries waiting in line to do the same, was going to force Facebook and Google to they kept calling them commercial deals in this article, but to simplify it, they wanted Facebook and Google to pay news sites, news organizations for permission to have their news posted by users on Facebook and Google services. So it was this moment where, of course, Facebook and Google have, you know, been in this weird whirlpool where they're both, you know, vital resources to get news out to the public, but also this horrible whirlwind of fake news and social engineering and yada, yada, yada. So what Australia did was step out and say, hey, no longer Facebook do you get to make money for free off of, our news organizations, because most people, you know, they'll go on Facebook and what keeps them there is getting news about the world. It's not learning about what Deborah had for breakfast that keeps you on Facebook. It's news. And a lot of people will admit that, you know, Facebook is kind of their main source of news. And that was traffic that Facebook is basically getting for free being generated by these news sites. So Australia and plenty other nations are saying, hey, Facebook, if you're going to benefit off of our country's news reports, you got to pay our news people. You know, it's a little bit of a nationalistic step, which is kind of ironic for a lot of these governments. You know, because generally Australia has a liberal government, Canada, France, they're all very liberal governments. Where if you want to push that out as far as you can, you know, they're on the no nations, no borders kind of train. But in this case, it's sort of a nationalist move. Like, hey, Facebook, you weird big international conglomerate who bends the knee to no government, you're going to have to pay our country. You're going to have to pay our people in order to allow news to be on your site. And the battle continues because Facebook Facebook, Zuckerberg, he just likes to rage quit. That's his thing. Gamers out there and young people, you know the term rage quit. It's when you're playing an online game with somebody and they just beat you so bad that you get angry and quit the game. And that's what Facebook is doing here. They said, okay, you want us to pay money for news to be posted on the site? Well, you don't get any news. And on top of that, we're shutting down all your news Facebook pages. We're shutting down your government Facebook pages. We're shutting down your neighborhood watch and your charity Facebook pages. And that was sort of their response. But this is very interesting. Facebook with the moves from Apple, that will be stopping Facebook from being able to freely collect all the data they want. The numbers on that were crazy. That was going to bring down Facebook's revenue by like something crazy, like 30%. And then, having to pay news organizations for the privilege of having news posted on Facebook, that was going to dig into their profits as well. We're in a situation where big tech, the people are starting, not just people, governments, people, companies, they're starting to push back against their sort of omnipotence that they've had for the past decade. And Zuckerberg's throwing a bit of a fit, Gonz.
Yeah, well, anytime
do you think
money...
we could get paid? Should Facebook pay us for people to post about a canary cry?
Well, that's kind of the idea here. He doesn't mind getting paid for certain things, Facebook, for their services, quote unquote. But if they have to pay for some access, they're like, yeah. And it's definitely these nations. You were talking about how it's nationalistic, but it's I would imagine it's more of a financial thing for the considering the finances for the nations, for Australia to push back like this. I had this story.
Yeah, well, they'll get tax money and stuff too,
right,
so it benefits Australia.
Yeah, I had this story for a later segment, but because we're on Facebook, I think this actually is a relevant story to go with here. This is dailymail.co.uk. Facebook is taking money from China to promote propaganda denying crimes against humanity targeting Uyghur Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
So this was published on the 18th of February. Facebook is taking money from China to promote communist propaganda, which denies atrocities against the Uyghur Muslims. An investigation has revealed the Silicon Valley behemoth pocketed Beijing's cash to promote articles which downplayed what Washington has called a genocide in Xinjiang, according to the Press Gazette. China Daily and CGTN, the state-backed TV channel recently banned in the UK, have paid Mark Zuckerberg's firm just a few $100s a time to promote posts to millions of users. It comes as Facebook, worth 560 billion pounds, is that?
Oh my gosh.
Was today accused of going to war with democracy as it banned Australians from sharing the accessing news on its website after Sydney threatened to force it to pay media companies for using their content. So, yeah, Facebook, while withholding stuff from Australia, seems like they have a bed buddy in China.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So-
and this is, and did Zuckerberg? I know Bezos mentioned it, but has Zuckerberg mentioned that he's going to be stepping down as head of Facebook?
I haven't heard anything to that effect, but it wouldn't be surprising, especially with all the pressure happening now from
Yeah, I
governments
thought I
everywhere.
heard something floating around. I might look that up real
Yeah,
quick.
but this is actually very revealing, I think, this story and just the Australia story, because it shows which what company Facebook is most like, what nation or political infrastructure they most jive with, and it's the Communist Party,
CCP.
It's the Communist Chinese Party. So it would make sense that we would see a kind of pushback, and people that are friendly to the communists will continue to use Facebook and not see a problem with it.
Yeah,
But
this is interesting. Looking for that Zuckerberg thing I mentioned, this came out a couple weeks ago. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg is the last founder CEO in big tech as Bezos steps back. With Amazon's Jeff Bezos stepping down as CEO, Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg is now the only remaining founder CEO at any of the big tech companies. Looking at Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet, these transitions have produced a mixed bag of results, but all three have seen their revenues and stock price grow since moving from their founders. At just 36 years of age, there are no signs that Zuckerberg is close to stepping away from his role atop Facebook.
I'm sure
Interesting.
I'm sure he's like, I win.
He's the last. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sure he has some sort of king of the hill mentality. And yeah, wow. Okay, that's interesting. Last founder CEO in big tech, Mark Zuckerberg. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, just another quick cancel culture story here.
Cancel culture.
And this is from the freethoughtproject.com. Just a brief mention here. Esteemed academic conference on dangers of censorship, reportedly censored by YouTube. It's a circle.
The censorship conference was censored.
Yeah. An academic critical media literacy conference warning of the dangers of media censorship has, ironically, been censored by YouTube. The Critical Media Literary Conference of the Americas 2020 took place without incident online over 2 days in October and featured a number of esteemed speakers and panels discussing issues concerning modern media studies. Weeks later, however, the entire video record of the conference, estimated at around 24 hours of material, disappeared from YouTube. Organizer Nolan Higdon of California State University East Bay began receiving worried messages from other academics, some of which were shared with Mint Press, who had been using the material in their classrooms, noting that it had all mysteriously disappeared. Quote, "At first I thought it was a joke," said Mickey Huff of Diablo Valley College, California. "My initial reaction was, that's absurd. There must have been a mistake or an accident, or it must have gone or got swept under somehow. There is no violation. There was no reasoning. There was no warning. There was no explanation. There was no nothing. The entire channel was just gone," he told Mint Press. Huff is also the director of Project Censored, an organization that sponsored the event. And it goes on, talks about a little bit of what took place in Parler and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this is how China did it, right? If we're going to talk about China, wasn't it like a slow burn? Just really quietly shut down the people that would oppose a free press and just completely take over the narrative. But
oppose a free press or promote a free press?
Or sorry, I'm sorry. Shut down people that would promote a free press.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is China in America, basically. Communist style censorship. So
what was this? This was a YouTube channel, or?
It sounds like a YouTube channel with an actual conference. And, I am hoping if this was being taught at a college, even though it was Diablo Valley College and Devil Valley College, if this type of information was being used in the classroom, I would hope those kids are like, oh, wow, this is serious. Like, they censored the censorship conference.
It's an object lesson.
It is.
There.
But I think what they're hoping for is, less work, less homework. That's probably what they're thinking. Let's burn some other books.
Yeah.
But, yep, the irony is not lost. It's all a circle. Everything just moves in circles. Okay.
Let's talk about food.
Ooh, food. I am getting a little bit hungry. So that.
I know. We might need to take a lunch break.
I'm hungry. Good old
Thank
fake
you,
meat.
Mr. Magoo. So we heard last week that Bill Gates was saying that all rich countries need to move to 100% synthetic beef. And of course, didn't quite mention that he is a big investor in Beyond and Impossible which is not synthetic beef, but meat alternatives. But along those lines, we got some from Bloomberg.com here. And have you seen on the Bloomberg site, they've got this panel that is just the ugliest bright lime green called Bloomberg Green. And they've got this little dashboard here of climate info.
Yeah,
have you seen this?
I know, I'm just noticing it now that you pointed out. Yeah,
Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, most polluted air today in sensor range. They've got like live climate updates on Bloomberg. That's pretty interesting. Seems like they're trying to, I don't know, do some PR here or something. But let's check the Bloomberg Green. We got 64% carbon-free net power in the UK, most recent data. We are down 6.23% in today's Arctic ice area versus historic average. We've got 418.12264 parts per million CO2 in the atmosphere.
We're all going to die.
69. What?
We're all going to die.
Yeah. 69.9 billion renewable power investments worldwide in Q2 2020. Wow. Okay. Bloomberg's got all the green stats here. But along those lines, we've got a headline: fake meat goes beyond burgers with money for printing steaks.
Yay.
Woo! Here we go. Here's your.
They print fake money, and now they want to print fake food.
That's right. Here's Bill Gates' synthetic beef. Juicy sirloin steaks hot off a 3D printer are on the menu this year as the booming faux meat market bids to lure even die-hard carnivores. Israel's Redefined Meat, LTD, is targeting steakhouses and other restaurants in Israel, Europe, and Asia with its 3D printed facsimiles of beef cuts. From filet to rump to brisket, the startup has just raised $29 million in funding to build a large-scale pilot factory and begin sales later this year, it said Tuesday. Quote, "We want to change the belief that delicious meat can only come from animals." There's that thing, that focus on flavor again. Don't worry, this is delicious meat. They don't say it's healthy or non-toxic or won't change your DNA or whatever. It's just delicious. Don't worry, citizens. Just enjoy the savory flavor. Chief Executive Officer Eshar Ben Shitrit said, quote, "We have all the building blocks in place to make this a reality. Alternative protein demand has boomed in recent years as environmental and health concerns drive consumers to products like faux burgers or nuggets. That's attracted venture capitalist investors and food giants from Nestle SA to McDonald's Corp. Although more needs to be done to improve the taste of products and lower prices."
Really? Because maybe it doesn't taste good.
More needs to be done to improve the taste and lower prices to compete with conventional meat. So I love it. Just over and over, they keep admitting it doesn't taste good. But don't worry, it'll get better. Redefine is trying to take plant-based products to the next level by giving diners the same sensory experience as eating prime beef. Last week, another Israeli startup, Aleph Farms Ltd., unveiled the world's first slaughter-free ribeye steak.
Yummy.
Barcelona-based Nova Meat Tech SL plans to start selling 3D printed vegan meat to restaurants in Europe this year as it raises funds. Vegan meat, love it. Vegan
Why
meat.
don't they just come up with their own thing?
Call it something else.
Don't
worry, it doesn't taste good yet. This year, as it raises funds for a production scale-up, CEO Giuseppe Cionti said, while Redefine is still working on flavor, 3D printers loaded with plant-based, quote, ink can print the meat countless times and deliver a complex layering of muscle and fat to recreate the right texture.
Eat this yummy ink, everybody.
It's plant-based, don't worry. Okay. Quote, "Our meat today versus some other cuts of meat are the same." The Redefined CEO said in an interview, "Liar! You cannot distinguish." Liar! The company has distribution partners in Israel, blah, 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 blah. So there you go, Gonz.
You missed the very last sentence in this article.
The funding is, quote, a major step toward becoming the world's biggest alternative meat company by 2030. It's the agenda.
It's the agenda. 2030. I think they're going to try to outlaw meat. Can you imagine if they outlaw meat in 2030? We're going to have to live in
I can't imagine it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're going to have to we're really going to have to build a commune with some...
Eat your meat now, folks.
Some gun turrets that surround the perimeter to keep out any UN
Gotta raise
troops
some
or
beef.
something.
We need some cattle ranchers to join the commune here.
Yeah. All right.
That's there's that. You got anything else for food?
Oh yeah, I missed this tweet from Bill Gates back in 2015. This is Bill Gates' actual account. He's got the check mark and all. I drank water made from human feces. Here's an update on the machine that produced that water. It's got a link. It's got a picture of Bill Gates drinking water out of a cup. I don't know what to think of it other than gross.
I don't like this. I don't like the term it was made from human feces.
From human feces.
What do you mean made from human feces? That suggests not that it was extracted or, filtered, that the feces was a component building block of the H2O. That's
water that is a gift from God, this natural thing that happens to quench our bodies, made up of 70% water.
It only covers 2/3 of the planet.
But no, Bill Gates wants us to drink water made from human feces. I don't know if he...
My question is, it seems so much easier and so much, more reliable to, quote, make water from urine. Why feces? Was there just not enough water in urine? They needed to extract it from something that was so not water.
The other thing, they haven't thought this through. If everybody's drinking this water and eating fake meat, our bowel movements aren't going to be the same either. So, even the water quality might change according to Bill's thing here.
Dun, dun, dun.
The article that it links to is from August 2015. It's by Bill Gates. Update, whatever happened to the machine.
He wrote it himself?
Apparently. Earlier this year, I shared a video where I drank water made from feces. My review, it was delicious. Is this fake? It doesn't seem real.
It was delicious. This water was delicious.
Today, the machine that produced the water, the Janiki Omni Processor, or JOP, is in Dakar, Senegal, as part of a pilot project that could ultimately save lives and reduce disease in poor countries. Here's an update of where things stand, and there's a video. I don't necessarily want to watch the video, but it's all to save the children, Basil. Don't you get it? He's trying to save the children. And then what's one thing that can save the children? Water from poop.
Great.
The other thing is, one of the things that Aleister Crowley, the occultist person in the world, the self-proclaimed beast, 666, he ate feces as part of his process to try to
his magical rituals.
Rituals, yeah. So he, this is just Bill Gates just trying to bring magic to all the lesser fortunate people in the world by giving them this machine that turns poop into water.
Lynn K on YouTube says, too much money plus too much time. That pretty much explains it all, I think.
I think
all right.
I think this is Bill Gates, his final form, revealing the facts about what is actually going on.
Everything they've built will fall, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one.
And, while we're at it, while we're exploring new clips, I think this story of Bill Gates trying to solve the world's poverty and sanitation and water problems by making water from feces, this is a great time to play the Star Wars clip.
Oh, yes. The Star Wars clip that you gave me that goes something like this.
Congratulations. You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Hello, poor people who have trouble with finding water and sanitation. Congratulations. You are being rescued by Bill Gates. Please do not resist.
How are you going to do it, Bill Gates? Are you going to give us money? No.
Drink your own poop.
Drink your poop and take this needle.
Another view on YouTube is mentioning, he's making a good point, which you can get, there's a lot of great water solutions being invented. Mm-hmm. And one of the best ones is you can just get water straight from the air very simply.
What? No, that is too simple.
Instead of putting money into these systems that can give a village all the water it needs just by collecting it from the air, instead of that, he's focusing on the poop water. Oh, jeez.
Poop water and needles.
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okie dokie, folks, we're going to take a quick break real quick and thank some producers. But before that, keep in mind, after the break, we've got some UFO news that you're not going to want to miss. Let's see, some NWO news you definitely don't want to miss. And then we're going to end with some good, taking a look at possibly the benefits of conspiracy theories from Psychology Today. But before that, let's thank some producers, Gonz. And for those of you out there who might be new to the show, we are on the value for value model, which means you may have noticed we don't read any ads. We don't give out any affiliate codes. We simply run on the very basic concept, which is we put out value 3 times a week. And if you get any value out of what we do, you are invited to put value back in. And that is the only way it works. And it may seem like some hippy-dippy commune nonsense to you, but to us, we realize that the advertising industry is, it's basically an industry based on brainwashing that has been the catalyst for such global problems as censorship. Often in the censorship argument, you'll talk about advertising being the reason you need to censor certain types of content. It's also it is the reason why big data, privacy concerns, mass data collection were invented. Some people, they hear me say that and they think I'm making some sort of obscure connection. It's not. The whole reason Facebook and other social media sites started practicing mass data collection was to sell the data to advertisers. So it just felt like if we were trying to advertise on our show that is explicitly against privacy concerns and big data, for us to advertise would seem just like a silly and wrong. So instead, we run on the value for value model, which, like I said before, we put out the value. We do the show 3 times a week. We try to do
3 times a day
we possibly can.
That's our goal.
And if you get any value out of what we do, you just put the value back in. It's that simple. It's not difficult at all. And you'll notice that major media platforms are starting to realize that this advertising thing is flawed, and they are, through censorship and privacy actions being taken, they're losing money. And so they too are asking for a value for value system. CNBC, NBC, ABC, they're all, even HuffPost was asking for donations. But here's the difference. When you support Canary Cry News Talk, you're not just making a charitable donation to help out a couple of bum podcasters. No, you are becoming a producer of the show. And that's not just a cutesy name. Like in the real world, if you pay for a piece of media to be produced, you are a producer. Now, Gonz, at the beginning of the show, we had exactly 0 producers for this show. And it
From
was
financial producers.
traumatizing. Yes, financial producers. It was traumatizing. We thought, oh my gosh, it's finally happened. The system has finally broken down, and here we are. The people are telling us that they're done with the show. And we are gonna, sometimes we'll say something at the top of the show saying how producer segment's light, and we just didn't. But I will say we had a few heroes come in during the show to produce the show. And so everybody out there, we're gonna read you our new producers, and you must thank them. Well, we got to get a round of applause for all of them because they saved the show. So our first hero of the day. Well, first I'll say one way to support the show is at patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. There, as of my last refresh, there were no producers on the Patreon. Let me just do a quick recheck, see if any heroes came in. No. But if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. A lot of people don't like Patreon. We support you. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support. That's a great place. You can come in, become a monthly producer. We thank all of our monthly producers for helping to lay a firm foundation for the show every month. And really, if it wasn't for the monthly producers, the beginning of this show would have been even more sad than it actually was. But let's see. You can also come in with a one-time producership in any amount, and that's exactly what these producers did. There's also cryptocurrency and a couple other fun ways to produce the show. But Gonz, what are the names of our heroes that came in during the show?
All right. So thank you, producers that came in on PayPal during the show. The first one is producer Shield Labs. I think it's Casey. Yeah, producer Casey there.
Thank you very much, producer Casey.
And they said, Canary Cry movie poster contest entry, Gonz with the Wind. Now someone make an art for it. So,
make an art
for it. Yes. Yeah, that brings me back. That's
make an art of it.
Oh, of it. Sorry. Yeah, I'm having trouble reading today. That was a nickname of mine when I was a kid. People used to call me that.
Gonz with the Wind?
Yeah, they said gone, but yeah. Close enough.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're tapping into
used to it.
You're tapping into some history there. So call for that. Next up, producer Philip.
And Shield Labs came in with $3.33.
Oh, that's right.
Illuminati, little mini Illuminati handler.
Yeah.
Producership.
Yes. Producer Philip E. It says Watcher.
Thank you very much.
Watcher Philip E. God bless. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Producer Philip E.
Thank you very much. Watcher Philip E.
And I think he's our executive producer for the show.
He's the executive producer for the show. Thank you very much.
Next up,
does that number mean anything to you? It seems like such a specific number.
Well, no, it doesn't off the top of my head, but I don't know. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's.
Okay, it's not on our list of announced numbers. So, producer Philip E., if that means something, let us know.
Could be a passage reference there or something. Next up, producer Tracy R.
Thank you very much, producer Tracy, coming in with the 33 Illuminati handler producership. Right.
She says, "Thank you for your faithfulness as watchmen. Love you guys." Well, we love you.
Love you back, Tracy.
Thank you for that, producer Tracy. And next we have producer Ciara. Oops, wrong button.
Thank you very much.
There it is. And she says, tomorrow's Zoom hangout is Basil themed. We'd love for you and fellow Canarians to join us. And she's talking about the once a month hangout. I think it's a Zoom hangout.
Yes, the Canary Cry Zoom hangout, the meetup. We got the thing up on the thing here?
Yep.
She
there.
sent the flyer. Okay.
Yep, it's up there.
Yeah, so this is fun. We haven't mentioned this in a few episodes, but I think once a month or twice a month, a bunch of Canary Cry peeps get together, do a big Zoom hangout. It's always fun. And this sounds interesting. Tomorrow's Zoom hangout is Basil themed. So I don't know what that means. I'm imagining we'll see lots of big googly eyes, maybe some fashion, some Basil fashion. I don't know. That'll be interesting. What time is it tomorrow?
It says here
11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We've got the meeting ID here. Oopsies. Whoa, I just made our stream full screen and it is taking over my virtual world. Oh gosh, how do I get out of this? Yes, let's see. Should we give out the meeting ID or do we have her email again? She said it was fine if we give out her email.
It's at the bottom here, ciaralaurен93@gmail.com. It's ciaralauren93@gmail.com. And we'll also post...
send an email.
Yeah, we'll post this flyer in the episode show notes. So if you go to canarycrynewstalk.com, you will see this or you'll see this flyer in the episode art. So.
Yeah, and this is great, and we're very thankful to producer Ciara for doing this. It's good to connect. You got to do it. I mean, a lot of people are doing a lot of Zoom calls nowadays, working from home, but you might as well do one that you enjoy and connect with weirdos just like you. Thank you very much, producer Ciara, and I encourage as many people to group up like this as possible. And, we're coming into a time now where possibly in-person Canary Cry meetups are even possible. Ooh. So we'll see. We'll see if those start popping up again.
Are we going to socially distance? We're going to be in bubbles? No?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, but not because the government tells us. Just because it's fun to be in bubbles sometimes.
Yeah, we're all bubble boys and bubble girls.
Yeah. Well, they got to be a protest. It's
meetups
are not allowed.
No.
But protests are allowed.
Yes.
So you got to do Canary Cry protests where you all get together and just hang out.
BLM, Basil's lives matures.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Who's next?
Last but not least, producer Sherry H.
Thank you very much.
$33.33. Oh, Cherie, that's right, Cherie. I always mess that up. $33.33. And she says, "Hello, dear friends. Coming in with the classic dog whistle amount, signaling to my peeps. Does that make me your handler? LOL, love you guys, and God bless." Well, you're competing to be... You're in the pool of handlers. Of
yes, we've got many Illuminati handlers, and it's working out well. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And I do want to come in at the very last second, just rounding home base here, sliding into home. We have producer Charlie. Producer Charlie coming in. Thank you very much, producer Charlie. We appreciate it. And you just made it as a producer of episode 302. Thank you very much. Yeehaw. I'm not seeing a note. Let me go check, see if a separate email came in. Nope. But thank you very much anyways.
Yes, very good.
Oh my gosh. And coming right behind Charlie, we have I'm just going to get these out of the way since we're technically still in the producer section. Thank you so much, guys. We got producer Paula W.
All right, Paula W.
Play the thing. There we go. Thank you very much. You want to type in Paula and Charlie? You did already. Okay. Thank you to all of our producers of episode 302, our financial producers. We truly can't do the show without you. I saw some comments while I was describing our current situation for this episode. Somebody telling me not to be so dramatic. Truly, I mean, it is funny, and maybe I was being a little dramatic, but it is also serious. It's not serious. So our heartfelt gratitude goes out to all of our producers, and but financially is not the only way to produce the show. Gonz, what else can they do?
You can give us timestamps for the show, and that's Jade Bouncerson. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
to do that. And you can send in jingles as well. Today we have a couple jingles to share. The first jingle we have is I gotta switch back different page here. B-Dubs brought in the Hive Mind jingle.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Here we go. Very nice. Thank you, B-Dubs. Yeah, that is a good one. We did need a Hive Mind jingle.
I think we will use that one.
Talk about the Hive Mind so much.
I know. We reference it enough, and I think there's enough stories out there about it.
At least once an episode. It's hard to ignore the Hive Mind.
Yeah. There's a Tesla quote, too, that I think I tweeted it out yesterday. He was on top of it, man. He was talking about communication and how we're all just the Earth is going to turn into one giant brain. And I mean, they all seem to say the same thing.
I also want to thank Marcy for sending. We're mentioning the roots of the advertising industry and how it is literally meant as mind control. It's not. That's not hyperbole. And Marcy, thank you very much, sent us an email talking about, it was Edward Bernays. I forgot his name last episode. So Edward Bernays is the father of advertising in the mid 20th century there. And he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud.
Right.
So that shows you the connections and the influence that was going into advertising as an industry, as a mind control device, and there you go. So I got to add that into my little spiel. I got to remember his name, Edward Bernays.
I quote Bernays all the time because he talked about
famous occultist too, right?
Well, he talked a lot about how the people that actually control society, our ethics, our just everything, our motivations, are done by a very small group.
He basically admitted to the puppet masters, that we're all controlled by men above us.
Yeah. It's a very revealing. He's got a lot of revealing quotes that people reference often. So, yes, he's the father of propaganda. So
the value for value model is a direct assault on Edward Bernaysian culture war.
Bernays is rolling in his grave when they hear the value for value model. Okay. Yeah. Next up, we have. We wanted to thank producer Martin B. He's the one that did the now famous end of show mix song, the closer of our show, the People Zoo song that I think people have come to love. Yes. He gave us another one here.
And also confused about. I do want to mention people who are new to the show, they hear about the People Zoo song and they're like, what is this show? People Zoo is referring to, was it Sophia or a different robot?
No, this is the clip.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my People Zoo.
And it was a robot of I'm just totally blanking on the author.
It was one of those major robots.
No. It was a robot clone of a deceased author, like a really famous, I think Arthur C. Clarke, maybe. Anyway, it was a deceased author that was kind of a futurist author, and they were interviewing him, or the robot, and that's what he said.
It was an AI though. It wasn't just. No, it wasn't a like scripted a real thing. No. It was an AI response.
Yes.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my People Zoo.
That's what he said. And he made a song out of it, and it was a fantastic song. And he gave us another song. This one's called Gonz. And it has to do with the Second Amendment. I'll play a few seconds here, but do listen for it at the end of the show to hear the whole thing.
Ooh.
So there you go. Well, you guys can hear the whole thing at the end. I would like to think that he's saying they're coming to take our
Heavy.
Gonz. Just selfishly.
They're coming to take our Gonz. They're coming to take our Gonz.
Yeah.
He didn't get vaxxed, and now we take him away.
The intro of that song has a very Iron Man.
That's yeah.
Black Sabbath Iron Man vibe. I was waiting for the
cool.
I am Iron Man. Ozzy. For those you metalheads out there.
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
Yeah, we know Ozzy, Gonz. We know Ozzy.
All
right.
Blight rats heads. I saw Ozzy live, by the way.
I know.
I got to go backstage and stand kind of next to him.
Oh, did you feel the arcane evil?
No, I thought he was going to fall. I was like, wow, this guy is able to do rock concerts. He looks like he's.
So this was before he got clean?
Oh, I don't know. It was like 98, 1998, 1999, something like that. I don't know. So it was a while
really
ago.
Up on my
he was
Ozzy timeline.
spraying the crowd with a giant water hose. It was a good time.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was back in the days when you could bite the heads off bats and not get coronavirus.
Yeah. No, this is it was a good decade after the whole, biting off bats and snorting ants and all that stuff he did. Crazy man. Anyway, look for that. Producer Martin B, thank you for that. And the other way you can support the show is with your art.
One art, please.
And we got a handful of art to share with everybody here. First up, we have one from producer Grace. I think this is, yes, producer Grace. And she said, you can't refuse to bake a cake with Trump's face on it. Which, there it is.
Yeah, this is regarding the California legislation that is adding political affiliation to discriminatory policies.
Yes. And then there's a
So
quote.
everybody go get a Trump cake made.
Yeah, make those cake people work. And the next one is, what is he, Voldemort? The one who shall not be named? And this was about Biden.
Regarding, yeah.
Not saying Trump's name during the video, saying the past guy, the old guy, the guy before. Because he's afraid that CCP will take away his money or something if he mentions his name. And then next
He doesn't want to feed Trump's ego by mentioning his name.
Right. Doesn't want to feed the
I think it would feed his ego even more if you care so much. You're thinking about him so much that you just hate him so much you just can't say his name. Arguably, that gives more power to the man than actually just flippantly saying his name like a normal person.
I think it's an AI play. I think it's an artificial intelligence.
Algos, not letting the algos catch it.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting take. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that makes total sense. I don't think Biden's smart enough to think of that.
No, I mean, you tell him it's for more petty reasons, but the powers that be are, the algo isn't able to necessarily discern, like, he's talking about Trump.
Yeah, sure. So, no, I get it. Yeah.
And the last quote here.
Cool.
Yeah, because synthetic foods have worked so well with the human biology so far.
Yes, this is about
That's a little sarcasm.
I was gonna say you really played up the sarcasm on that reading. Yeah,
the quote is written
in regards to.
Yeah, go ahead.
On Bill Gates's comment about 100% synthetic beef,
which seems to fit the show today as well. But for those of you just listening, the quote is written on a piece of steak. So
there you go.
Just for
okay. Thank you very much, Producer Grace.
Producer Grace, keep it up. We love the quotes. Next up, we have a series of images that have been made by producer Mike B. This first one, it's Biden looking a little sad. Standing in the window of the White House, and it says, "Me after I searched Biden comforter and found official presidential bedding sets."
You think that's real?
I think so. I think, yeah.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Do it right
Biden.
now.
So, referring to the CNN article by Chris. Oh, what's his name?
Oh,
I
yeah.
follow him on Twitter now.
Yeah, the shill something.
Shill lizard.
Shill lizard, that's
shill
right.
Shills something. I think it's
Shill lizard.
Yeah, who said one of the main points from Biden's CNN town hall was comforter in chief. Gross. Puke.
Puke. Yeah.
Biden comforter. Let's do a quick search.
Yeah, do a search on that. Let me pull up the article just to get the guy's name too, because I want to make sure we.
Oh yeah, there definitely are. Excuse me, there definitely are Biden Biden comforters, but also the first article that shows up is from Chris Shillizard. Oh, what's his name? Let's find it here. Hold on.
Something like that. It's pretty close to Shillizard. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I remember. That's what we dubbed him. Siliza.
Oh, okay.
Chris Shillizard. Shillzilla, I think is what we were calling
Shillzilla.
Chris Shillzilla.
Okay.
Dang, we need to make a fake Twitter account called Chris Shillzilla. I have no idea what would go on it, but
we can just be it could be a troll. We can be the troll, and we can pretend to be the CNN.
Just take all the tweets that he tweets and put them into Shillzilla language.
Yeah.
All right.
Producer Mike B sent another one. This is the Terminator with a overlay of the screen of the robot. We talked about the Flippy.
Yeah, the cute Flippy.
The cute Flippy. A wink. But his body is
Terminator's not so scary now.
Yeah. He doesn't have the red eyes.
Wow, Mike B is sending in a lot of stuff this episode.
And then
we've got another one of these
I Spy riddles.
No, it's I don't know. It's not I Spy, but
he called it an I
He's
Spy.
got a picture. He did? Okay.
Yeah,
we can call it that. I plus Juana. I wanna plus there's
shake.
A milkshake. Shake. I wanna shake things up. I want to shake things up. I want to shake things up. There you go. Thank you very much. Very good. If you don't get that reference, you will in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, maybe less. And then next up, we have one from producer Aaron, and he had a note here. Let me try to pull it up. I forgot to put all the notes in there. This says, he just said Gonz inspired art. And it's the 1 Timothy 4, verse 1 and 3. It's got Bill Gates with a smug smile thing there, some fake meat in a petri dish, and the passage, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils," highlighted, "forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats," highlighted, "which God hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth."
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So thank you very much, producer Aaron. And last but not least, we have producer Allie coming in with it's Basil.
Yes, this is great. This is, man, I just keep getting more pumped. I'm looking good. Got my tight t-shirt on. Got my humongous biceps. Got my googly eyes on. I feel like the googly eyes are getting bigger too.
Yes,
Maybe when I work out, the googly eyes grow. Also, I got a cat on my shoulder. My t-shirt says "veganishest boyfriend ever," referring to my I wasn't vegan, but I was vegetarian-ish for almost 10 years, with the exception of I would eat pepperoni and bacon.
Isn't that basically? Okay. Anyway,
no, because I wouldn't eat it every day. I just would not turn them down. But in my look, I'm not trying to glorify my vegetarian days. Okay, I know it was ridiculous. I'm just saying I'd spent some time in that world. But 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But in my hand, I'm grasping a handful of. I think that's bacon.
Yes.
Is that bacon? Do we have a note?
We do have a note.
Just want to make sure.
Yes.
It looks like bacon.
Fistful of bacon is the name of the.
I've got a
piece.
giant fistful of bacon that the cat on my shoulder is very interested in.
Yeah. So you pretty much said it there. You summarized the whole thing. He Here he stands with a fistful of bacon and a hungry Monty 4 on his shoulder, ready to join in on the veganist shenanigans. There you go. Thank you, Producer Allie.
Thank you very much, Producer Allie. Always a pleasure.
Yes.
All right. Is that all the things?
I think that's all the things, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Well, thank you to all of our producers for this episode 302 of Canary Cry News Talk. It was almost a scary day, but thank you for those who came in at the last second supporting the show. Again, we will be so happy to thank more producers on next show, which we usually don't do this now, but I'll just say it now, February 22nd.
Are you going to read reviews? It's Friday.
Oh, yeah, it's Friday. Oh, and I got charts.
Oh, yeah, charts.
I got charts, Gonz. I got good charts. This was a good week. I want to say, top of the list here, we made it top 100 in news commentary in the United States of America. Which doesn't happen all the time, but we're happy when it does. So thank you, producers, for playing your part in getting us to top 100 in news commentary in the United States. Not to be outdone, we also made number 87 in Australia. So I'm glad we connected with our Australian listeners, producers. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Not to be outdone, 79th in Sweden. We also had a Sweden story. So see, this is good. We're an international show, and we got to remember that.
We're international, not globalist. That's a better way to put it, right? We're international.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah. International, between many nations, not one globe, many nations. And again, one that was fun, talking about Putin Sauce here, number 77 in Russia.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, see?
Maybe Putin is listening.
Yeah. And again, some more of our Scandinavian friends, number 94 in Norway. What's up, Norway? 79 in the Netherlands. Nice. So Scandinavia is really on the Canary Cry train right now. Is Netherlands technically Scandinavia? I'm not sure. Excuse me, Netherlands listeners, for my ignorance. But I believe that's where producer Lloyd is from.
Netherlands is not part of Scandinavia. See map.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for fact checking me. Fact check. Sorry, Netherlands. But I do believe that producer Floyd is from the Netherlands. Hopefully, I'm not wrong about that. Keeping moving. Talking about the South African variant, 63 in South Africa.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure where this came from, but number 43 in the Czech Republic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, news commentary. So
did we mention
Greetings, Czech Republic.
I don't remember if we did a story from the Czech area.
No, we talked about Estonia. I don't think we mentioned Czech Republic. And this was our biggest jump. Oh, no, it wasn't our biggest jump, but it was one of the bigger ones. Now, here's the thing. We are usually categorized in news commentary because that's what the show is. We're news commentary. We're not news proper. We don't necessarily go out and do a lot of reporting ourselves, except for our boots on the ground producers. So I guess we do some true reporting. But we got in the news category, news proper, which is a much more difficult category to get into, in Uganda, number 71. Yeah.
All right.
So we got some Ugandan listeners. Thank you very much, Uganda. And again, Uganda in the news commentary. So 71st in news. But in news commentary in Uganda, number 5.
Hey.
Yeah. Cool. So what's up to Uganda? And for those who might be wondering what exactly I'm reading from, these are the podcast charts. This is not YouTube. This is not Twitch. This is not our video streaming. I often see in the comments some confusion about, because a lot of our live broadcasts, we don't get a whole bunch of viewers per platform. So, there might be like 100 people on the YouTube on the Canary Cry YouTube, and they're like, what? These guys only get 100 views? No. We are mainly a podcast going through the RSS infrastructure, and that's where these charts come from all around the world. So thank you very much to all of our international listeners for getting us on the charts. Okay, now time for reviews. Thank you to everybody who left ratings and reviews. This is awesome. It really helps spread the show again on the RSS feed, the podcast infrastructure. And here we go. These are coming from Canary Cry News Talk on Apple Podcast. And this is from Jonesy76. 5 stars. The worst part is when it ends. At first, I wasn't sure about the show. We get that a lot. But after listening for one episode, I found Basil and Gonz to be very informed and up-to-date with current events, whether you are a believer or not. This is a well-rounded and surprisingly intellectual show.
Surprisingly. It's kind of like a low expectation type situation there. And then pleasantly surprised. Sorry, go ahead.
I like it to be surprisingly intellectual. You know, if we were explicitly intellectual, it would kind of be boring and
it'd be
snobby,
NPR.
You know? It'd be NPR.
Today,
yeah, exactly. So being
NPR.
Surprisingly intellectual is about the best compliment that Jonesy could have given us. Thank you very much. With subject matter ranging from futuristic robot technology to microbiology and how it's being implemented into our daily lives. There's no shortage of comedy and entertainment. The show is very multifaceted, and you can expect the odd surprise as it is live. If you have something to add in the chat, you can expect a call out if it is connected with the subject being discussed. In the live chat, it is very welcoming and you feel like you're part of a community. It is well monitored and cut down any aggressive bullying whilst allowing for free discussion. You can also participate in the show by sending in your artwork and other artistic abilities like music that you might have. There is really too much to put in this small review, as the show is packed full from start to finish with relevant information and entertainment. Wow. Wonderful review. Thank you very much, Jonesy76. I don't think anybody's really done as much of a job sort of analytically trying to break down what to expect from the show beat by beat as much as Jonesy76 has done. So thank you very much, Jonesy.
Yeah, that felt like review. That felt like it could
I felt very seen.
Yeah.
I felt very seen and understood.
Yeah, not just that, but that seems like a little blurb that would be like in a featured article or something about us. You know, like a news
that is
hit about Canary Cry News Talk. Just what it's about. Yeah, we can. Yeah. I think we need to use that as just our PR.
Yeah, we could pretty much copy and paste this on some of our stuff.
Should. Yeah.
You know what? On the new website, when we redo the website, maybe we should pick some of these reviews and stick them in there.
We should.
Okay. Next, we have this is from Flaccid Core 2. 5 stars. Great podcast. The best thing that's ever happened to me, and that includes my children.
Oh wow. Whoa there.
Okay, this one's pretty good too. Thank you very much. The best thing that's ever happened to me, and that includes my children. Thank you very much, Flaccid Core 2. Next, from Codes G on Apple Podcasts. Can't stop listening. 5 stars. Best news talk around the web, brought to us by God-fearing men who encourage others to think outside of the mainstream media while providing a biblical take on the news and the world we live in. Thank God for you guys who helped produce this awesome show. There you go. Shout out to the listeners.
All the producers.
Thank God for you guys who helped produce. Sorry. Yes, that's what I meant. Producers. You get a nice, you get a mention. Thank God for you guys who helped produce this awesome show, and thank God for those who listen. Oh, and listeners. There you go. Sincerely, a longtime listener. Thank you very much, Codes G. Excellent. Wow, this is a great collection of reviews today. Just a couple more. Deeper Cut. Whack. A great show. 5 stars. Love you guys. Do a great job at exposing the lies of the media. Longtime listener, first time caller. LOL. Keep up y'all's work. Thank you very much, Deeper Cut. Next, we have Bun Poopy Face. Oh, 5 stars.
Didn't they leave a review before? I thought there was some.
Did I already?
No. It was a while ago, but I recognized the name. It kind of rang a bell in my brain.
I don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But maybe. Thanks for the second. Maybe it was on Canary Cry Radio. I don't think you can leave 2 reviews.
Really?
So maybe it's an update? I don't know. Bun Bun Poopy Face, 5 stars. The child has spoken. Don't miss the best episode of 2021. Baby knows best, and this baby is after Pretty Face Basil's co-host position. With the heart-melting cries of sheer hunger, he conquers the timid screech of Basil's pubescent T-Rex roar, his sad, scratchy, gusher, guzzling Super Bowl announcements, and is pleased to cut to the break. The child will not be silenced. He rises in victory with a hiccup at 1 hour and 21 minutes and 13 seconds and a burp during Basil's rant on his money-hungry power grab for mayor. Hashtag Team Baby. Hashtag Baby for co-host 2021. There you go. Referring to your son's explosions, which happened a couple episodes in a row, which was a delight.
Yes. Yeah. We remedied the situation for now.
Yeah, so it was a big fan. I was trying to keep the show going, but people just wanted more baby. So there you go. I answered to the producers, and the producers have spoken.
All right.
Okay, couple more here. I can't remember the last time I read reviews. So we kind of have all of February we're going through here. This is from 757 Hooligan, the best, 5 stars. These guys are my go-to podcast. They provide an insightful, intelligent, entertaining, and biblically grounded take on today's events. So thankful to have found them. God bless. Hashtag Team Basil. Hashtag gout causes tooth pain. Okay. Thank you very much. So we've got hashtag Team Baby, hashtag Team Basil. Next, we have, we may have read this one, but I'm going to do it anyways. Deluxeson Killer. 5 stars, 6 stars if I could. I've been listening for a few years. Sorry it took me so long to give a 5-star. You guys have a great show, and I love listening to each episode while I'm at work. My only issue is that you guys need to do a show on Tuesday and Thursday. That one was a repeat, but I'm happy to do it. Thank you very much, Deluxeson Killer. There you go. So yes, we have a call to do a show every single day, which would be a good way for us to lose control of our lives completely.
It's very, very true. Yeah, I don't think people realize the time it takes to prep these shows.
It's a lot.
And the actual show
it's
itself,
a full work day.
And then a post
for sure.
stuff for the show.
From start to finish and everything in between, it's definitely a full 8-hour work day on show days. And then we're also doing stuff not on show days as well to keep the thing running. So yeah, there you go. But maybe someday if producership allows, we could do every day. We'll see. Okay, there we go. Those are all the reviews. Thank you, everybody, so much for leaving those reviews. They are wonderful. And as usual, they help the algorithms spread the show. It's very important, sometimes, again, not being hyperbolic, it's very, very important for the show to get these reviews. And Gonz and I read them all ourselves, and we also read them on the show. So do it. If you haven't done it already, leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. I was feeling a little strange about specifically calling for Apple Podcast reviews because, there's dozens of places you could listen to the podcast version. So I always try to include Stitcher and stuff like that. But I looked at our stats. Everybody listens on Apple Podcasts. I mean, the very few people listen on non-Apple Podcast apps. Not that I want to promote inequality for you Stitcher and Podbean and SoundCloud listeners, but there you go. Leave a review wherever you can. Okay, I think we did it now. Are you ready to wake up?
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Yes.
Wake up, folks.
And let's start things back up with story about UFOs, or it's not really a UFO, but
aliens.
It's not really aliens either.
Uh-oh.
What am I going to go with here? I will go with I'll just go with my favorite for today. What are you talking about?
It's the suspense.
They built will fall, and from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one.
Good enough.
Okay.
PopularMechanics.com. Skunk Works is about to test a secret new aircraft called Speed Racer.
Ooh.
Of course, Skunk Works, Ben Rich, former Skunk Works, is quoted as saying very interesting things, such as, "We now have the technology to take ET home, and we cracked the code," and some other things that suggest that they have been working on some kind of anti-gravity technology for a long time. But for now, the public gets this story here. Lockheed Martin's famous Skunk Works division will soon begin testing a secret new aircraft, according to Aviation Week. How is it
not
secret?
So secret?
Yeah, I was going to say, not so secret now that it's published on Popular Mechanics. Lockheed designed the uncrewed vehicle named Speed Racer using an all-new digital engineering process known as Star Drive. The aircraft's mission, if it even has one other than validating the Star Drive process, is still a total mystery. Lockheed originally announced the aircraft in September 2020. While Skunk Works officials didn't reveal any details about Speed Racer's configuration, they did tout Star Drive, a process that allows for the rapid development of modern aircraft, which has grown increasingly complicated over time. Star Drive should allow for faster and cheaper development of military craft. Skunk Works has built several drones, including the Dark Star spy drone pictured above, which is, it's kind of, I don't know, how do you explain this? This is like a flat, white, flat.
It just looks
disc.
like a drone. Big, flat drone.
Okay, sure.
Like the size of a Predator drone, though. It's a big,
It's
big
big.
one.
It's really big. It's,
yeah.
People look like little tiny ants next to it.
Yeah.
While Lockheed,
It looks like it's the colors of the Speed Racer car, though.
I think that's
where
why,
the name comes from.
Yeah. Where was I? Okay. While Lockheed ultimately canceled Dark Star, the company went on to build other drones, including the RQ-170. Digital engineering, which comes from the civilian aerospace sector, has recently ported over to the military sector. The process involves using computer software to construct, quote, digital twins of aircraft, from the design to flight stages, then flying a real physical craft. Engineers can use a software twin to predict how an aircraft will fly, make adjustments, and bring the aircraft design to an advanced level before the real twin even flies. This process
that's interesting.
Allows for quicker development times and shaves considerable costs. The Pentagon designed and developed the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, for example, over the course of 2 decades, a painfully long process that saw the strategic environment change dramatically. By comparison, the Air Force revealed in 2020 that it used digital engineering to secretly design, build, and test a new prototype fighter jet in the span of just 1 year. So, they're just, 3D print money, 3D print food, and they're about to use the digital twin idea to eventually probably just 3D print our spy drones that surveil our every move.
Yeah, gnarly. Wow, a year. That's crazy. I mean, these drones and different aircraft, I mean, they normally will take it. It's not unusual for it to take a decade to get one of these things out.
And this
doing it the old way, where you design, build, redesign, build, redesign, build, billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah, and this is very much
crash, explode,
crash, explode, lose money, get yelled at.
Yeah.
This very
People
much is
die.
in part of, it used to be. I don't know that people die anymore with some of these tests, but the acceleration towards a technological singularity is, this is it. We talked about the microchip and the, Moore's Law, that every 3 years or so, the amount of information that can be processed on a chip, the size of the chip becomes half as small.
Yeah.
And
the amount of conductors you can fit on a chip doubles, which quickens the speed. Although we're coming to a place now that Moore's law is almost irrelevant.
It's irrelevant. And that's why I think they're starting to talk about quantum, because they literally have to reach into the alt dimension to continue the technological advancement there. But I mean, I think this is just an example of seeing that effect in all sectors of technological development, even with aircrafts, which again usually takes a long time to develop. And maybe that's what it is with the whole vaccine thing too. You know, they're trying to say, oh, it usually takes a long time, but we just did it so fast. It might be part of the technological singularity.
Yeah, there you go. Could be. All right. Well, I got an update from the World Economic Forum. Our buddy Charles Schwab.
Yeah, you know, I made this today, this jingle that I thought I had here. I thought I bounced it, but I guess I didn't. Oh, that's a bummer. I should have actually done it. It was a New World Order one, but all right, I don't have it. You can. I was going to give you notes on this before the show, but since we're on it now, basically this. Go ahead with the story. Read a couple paragraphs there, but I think
we'll take it as it comes here.
Okay, go ahead.
This is the worldeconomicforum.org. Can you put a price on peace? This study says you can. Or put another way, how much better off would we be in a world where armed conflict was avoided? Around 14.4 trillion in the 2019, according to the Institute for Economics and Peace, which crunched the numbers. That's about $5 a day for every person on the planet. To give some context, 689 million people, more than 9% of the world's population, live on less than $1.90 a day, according to the World Bank figures, underscoring the potential impact peace-building activities would have. Oh, peace-building activities. We know what those are. Yeah. Just over 10% of global GDP is being spent on containing, preventing, and dealing with the consequences of violence. Vague. As well as the 1.4 million violent deaths each year, conflict holds back economic development, causes instability, widens inequality, and erodes human capital. Then we've got some graphs here. Very high peace.
This graph seems very elementary, if I can use that phrase.
But, I don't even fully understand it. The cost of violence on the vertical end of the graph here, it says percentage of GDP. On the horizontal part, it does not have a title.
Level of
for
peace.
What this is.
Level of
peace. Yeah. So it says here at 4% of GDP, you have very high peace. 5% of GDP, high peace. 7% of GDP, medium peace. 10% of GDP is low peace. 26% of GDP is very low peace. But what is this saying? If you spend 26% of GDP,
it's saying that when there's very low peace, it eats into 26% of the GDP.
Okay.
So it costs more money to have low peace.
This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. I mean, that's what the whole military-industrial complex is about. Yeah. Is it's expensive to wage war, and companies like to wage war because they make money. Yep. So moving on. In a report titled "The Economic Value of Peace 2021," the IEP says that for every death from violent conflict, 40 times as many people are injured. The world's 10 most effective countries are spending up to 59% of their GDP on the effects of violence. Okay, wow. But the picture, these numbers are crazy, but the picture is not all bleak. The economic impact of violence fell for the second year in a row in 2019 as parts of the world became more peaceful. The global cost dropped by $64 billion between 2018 and 2019, even though it was still $1.2 trillion higher than 2012. Then we got another graph. In 5 regions of the world, the costs increased in 2019. The biggest jump was in Central America and in the Caribbean, where a rising homicide rate pushed the cost up 8.3%. Okay, so they're not just talking about war. They're talking about all violence.
All violence, yeah.
Okay. This just seems
That's
like
how you
an
measure
exercise.
peace, Basil.
Seems like some mathematicians were just bored someday, but let's try to get to the point here. Syria, with its ongoing civil war, suffered the greatest economic impact, with almost 60% of GDP lost to conflict in 2019. That was followed by Afghanistan at 50% and South Sudan at 46%. The report makes a direct link between peace and prosperity. We didn't need mathematicians to tell us this. Okay. It says that since 2000, countries that have become more peaceful have averaged higher GDP growth than those who have become more violent. Quote, this differential is significant and represents a GDP per capita that is 30% higher when compounded over a 20-year period. Okay, nerd. The report says, adding that peaceful countries also have substantially lower inflation and unemployment. Okay, no kidding. Tell me something I don't know here. Come on. Quote, small improvements in peace can have substantial economic benefits, it adds. Quote, for example, a 2% reduction in the global impact of violence is roughly equivalent to all overseas development aid in 2019. Mm-hmm. Equally, the total value of foreign direct investment globally only offsets 10% of the economic impact of violence. Authoritarian regimes lost an average of 11% of GDP to the cost of violence, while in democracies, the cost was just 4% of GDP. And the gap has widened over time, with democracies reducing the cost of violence by almost 16% since 2007, while in authoritarian countries, it has risen by 27% over the same period. The report uses 18...
Is that saying that democracy is reducing the cost of violence? Or is that saying they're able to have the same amount of violence but make it cheaper?
That's interesting. They are not distinguishing between... Yeah, that's a good point.
They're just more efficient
they could be. They're not specifying. They could be saying that democracy just has more efficient violence.
Efficient violence, yeah. It's just
authoritarian
more
countries.
cost-effective violence.
Yeah, that's interesting. The report uses 18 economic indicators to evaluate the cost of violence. The top 3 are military spending, okay, the cost of internal security, which makes up over a third of the total at 4.9 trillion, and homicide. Okay, so it's homicide, internal security, and military spending. Okay, let's get to the point. Peace brings prosperity. The formula also contains a multiplier effect because as peace increases, money spent containing violence can instead be used on more productive activities, which drive growth and generate higher monetary and social returns. Quote, substantial economic improvements are linked to improvements in peace, says the report. Therefore, government's policies should be directed to improving peacefulness, especially in a COVID-19 environment where economic activity has been subdued. The IEP says that what it terms positive peace is even more beneficial than negative peace, which is simply the absence of violence or the fear of violence. Positive peace involves fostering the attitudes, institutions, and structures that create and sustain peaceful societies. The foundations of a positively peaceful society, it says, are a well-functioning government. Okay. Sound business environment. Yeah, great. Sound business environment with COVID-19. Acceptance of the rights of others, good relations with neighbors, free flow of information. Thank you, Facebook and other censor platforms. High levels of human capital, low levels of corruption. Okay, thank you, CCP, and equitable distribution of resources. The World Economic so socialism is what brings peace. The World Economic Forum's report mobilizing the private sector in peace and reconciliation urged companies large and small to recognize their potential to work for peace, quoting the former Goldman Sachs chair. Okay, good. Get the Goldman Sachs chair in here. The late Peter Sutherland, who said, quote, business thrives where society thrives. Wow. That was kind of a whole lot of nothing there.
Whole lot of nothing. And I like how at the end of the article, their punchline to really wrap up what they're trying to say is former Goldman Sachs chair, which Goldman wasn't, they were slammed for doing all kinds of crimes, financial crimes, right?
Yeah, wasn't a great guy. Pretty
Goldman
high
Sachs.
corruption. Yeah, I wonder what Halliburton and Raytheon and all of our other military contractors think about this.
Well, that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know if they think that they make more money when there's peace.
And this article, because it's the World Economic Forum, we know that this is kind of how the elite circles want to start having the discussion of, they don't mention the phrase here, but stakeholders capitalism. I think this is directly tied to that because they're using GDP as still a metric, right? And they're connecting, or they try to connect this idea of violence levels to the financial infrastructure, and then trying to justify like, oh, look, we save money when we're less violent, based on what? Less corrupt government, more. What was it? It was like all the
we've never had.
The things that we've never had, and the things that are part of the conversation with stakeholder capitalism. I think it's the same stuff they were talking about.
Yeah. Well, now the interesting thing with this also is that this is coming from a globalist perspective.
Yes.
Remember, the World Economic Forum is the premier globalist agenda moving organization, because they're talking in a global sense here, where if everybody's peaceful, everybody will benefit. What they fail to mention is that, and now everybody knows I'm no warmonger. I abhor, the military-industrial complex is ridiculous. But like in the case of America and any war, when there's a war, the winner almost always comes out significantly richer than they were before they went into the war.
And
not all the time.
And they can shape the narrative.
Yes. In modern warfare, the most prosperous times for at least America has been directly following a war. So it's interesting to see this compared to like with American history. And look, I'm not promoting that America gets into any more wars, but that's part of America's prosperity plan, albeit evil, is to stay in perpetual war because you can benefit from perpetual war. And that's why the Middle East has been such a target for so long. We go to war, whether it be official boots on the ground war or economic war or in war of intelligence, whatever it is, war is very profitable. And that's why we are in the place that we are in. But in this world economic situation, they're talking about, notice how they don't mention the stats for any of the winners of these wars. They mention specifically the losers of wars costing, and civil wars in general, which it could be said that, a civil war is all loss.
Oh,
for
it's
the most
preferred
part.
Probably because it truly the people behind both sides of the war are the ones that benefit, and the nation itself or the region itself, they suffer collateral damage, everything, all kinds of damages, even economic damage, of course. But the ones that do get rich are the ones that are behind the manufacturing and providing the tools necessary to fight the war, the host basically of such wars. And the article, this line right here, the foundations of a positively peaceful society, it says, are a well-functioning government. World Economic Forum is a global institution. Would you call them
barely an institution? It's a club.
A club,
of rich guys.
Club of rich guys. Have they done anything to help governments function better?
They wrote this article.
Sound business environment.
They have their, their wellness retreat every year, the World Economic Forum Davos Summit.
Yeah,
where politicians can go skiing. What was the term that woman used? Slither around on the ice.
That's right. Acceptance of the rights of others. The World Economic Forum. How are they doing with that one? I'm just trying to put a mirror up to the
rights of others to the World Economic Forum. I mean, that's the thing with the World Economic Forum. The rights of others. You mean the rights for us to determine our own future and not have a global cabal of rich people gather at a ski resort and decide our fate? Is that what he means? I don't think that's what he means.
Good relations with neighbors. Free flow of information. How much of the true I'm not going to say conspiratorial, the collusive information that is discussed at the World Economic Forum do you think is free flowing in public?
Maybe 1%. Yeah.
High levels of human capital, low levels of corruption. Come on. This is just, the ones saying it.
The thing with this is like, yeah, of course, all these things would make for a better world. But I mean, yeah. What new news are you telling us in this article?
I'm just trying to point out that these guys are, they are deeming themselves the imposers. Yeah, exactly. Right. Not practicing what they preach. Yeah. And they're the ones claiming to be the ones that can impose these statistical, goals, so to speak, the sustainable development.
It's all about influence.
I mean,
the World Economic Forum, more than anything, is an intelligence operation.
Oh yeah,
it's a social engineering tool, and so there you go. That's why we all need to trust the plan.
Wow, way to bring it all. It's a big circle.
Trust the World Economic Forum plan, folks. What are y'all complaining about? These guys got it all under control.
Yeah, we just need to bow down to the WEF people.
Let the Illuminati handle it, guys. Why are you complaining so much?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we got one more story here for you. I'm labeling it as something good. Although you guys, you can all be the judge.
Tell me something good.
And there goes any kind of free press there. We probably just got dinged.
There's our copyright strike.
Yeah, copyright strike. PsychologyToday.com. The unexpected benefits of conspiracy theories.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Changing your tune a little bit there.
Yeah, well, so just to catch people up, we like to tune in to exactly how quote unquote conspiracy theories are being handled in the mainstream. Psychology Today has been a constant prognosticator on conspiracy theories, their mindsets, theorists, their mindsets, their lives, their detriments on society. This is the first time we've seen something positive about the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I'm going to read it all the way through, and it's hilarious because there's an update at the end that it's good. Okay, let's just get through it here. We all know that conspiracy theories are bad. Do we?
Oh.
Do we all know that?
Okay.
I didn't realize it was just all bad.
Obey.
They cause people to make outrageous claims and do misguided and sometimes dangerous things.
Oh, like do a podcast. Or stand on or
really
buy Bitcoin.
Draw moral boundaries on things. We say an idea is a conspiracy theory when we want to completely discount it and to discredit its speaker.
Hey, that's a moment of self-realization I was not expecting.
Yeah, I think this author here, what's his name?
Self-awareness, rather.
Ewan Morrison was having, I think he had an existential crisis because it has something to do with his family. We'll get to it here.
Okay.
There are, of course, many conspiracy theories out there that seem plain insane. The moon is a hologram. The earth is flat. And these things are being hidden from us by the NASA, NATO, Illuminati, New World Order conspirators, who may also be a super race of lizards who arrived in UFOs.
Well, see, that's just erroneous. They did not arrive in UFOs. They stepped through interdimensional portals.
I know. Get your
This
facts
guy
right.
is just being insulting.
However, I'd like to explain why I believe there are some psychological benefits to believing in conspiracy theories. There must be, as 50% of all Americans reportedly believe in one conspiracy theory or another. It works for them. Playing devil's advocate, I like to try to work out what the unexpected and even unintended benefits are for some people of investing in a conspiracy theory. Talk about walking on eggshells there.
Ooh, investing. Should we make a conspiracy token? Conspiracy coin?
We should.
We can really invest in conspiracy.
We can
I think
really
that's a
do
pretty
something
good
like
idea.
that. Yeah. Somebody should get the Illuminati cards and make them into NFTs. That's our exit strategy right there. But first, a little background on me and the conspiracy theory I was born into and the relationship I see between mental health, conspiracy theories, and our innate human need to have, quote, stories to live by. My father suffered from mental illness due to childhood traumas. Like many of his generation, he was never properly diagnosed, but he may have had CPTSD or BPD, and he battled against chronic depression all his life. What's PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. What is C-PTSD? Do you know what that is?
Conspiracy post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay. That's it?
I have no idea. There's no link for it. I don't know.
There's a
We'd
link
have to look it up.
there, but anyway. He was a good, loving, but vulnerable man, and one thing that gave him focus and strength was a conspiracy theory that he lived by. His theory was that the British state had conspired to keep Scotland under subjugation in order to exploit its oil resources, and that the 1979 independence referendum had been, quote, fixed to ensure Scotland voted no. He believed that... I know, isn't that just like the most mundane? This isn't aliens and reptilians
But that's not that crazy of a conspiracy theory. I know lots. I don't have lots of friends over there, but as for those who have been listening for a while, you've heard me speak about the troubles in Ireland, and I've also gotten some info on this 1979 independence referendum. This is something a lot of people think is true. This could hardly be a conspiracy theory.
No, this is, and again, this isn't like, I was expecting him to say like, oh, he speaks to interdimensional reptilian figures.
He had bipolar and PTSD. He believed in lizard people. No, he believes actually a pretty common thing that's not even a conspiracy theory. It's just general politics.
Yeah. It's just... I'm going to keep going here. He believed that radical separatists like himself were under telephone surveillance by MI5. He said he could hear a click on the line, and that the UK governance...
Okay, hold on. MI5 notoriously tapped, not just MI5, but its predecessor as well, notoriously tapped phones of separatists. I don't know much about Scotland, but they definitely did in Ireland as well.
Yes. Trust me, it gets... this
okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop interrupting.
No, it's okay.
We get it.
It's okay.
His crazy conspiracy theorist father doesn't seem that crazy.
No. So he believed that the radical separatists like himself were under telephone surveillance by the MI5. He said he could hear a click on the line, that the UK government was conspiring to remove him from his job, and that this, quote, suppression of the Scots conspiracy dated back to the Highland clearances, 1750 to 1860. Arguably, we could say that this conspiracy theory was symptomatic of his mental health issues. Persecution phobias are common with people who have experienced childhood traumas, but here is where I would argue there was a benefit from this conspiracy theory. Okay, number one, it gave him a narrative for life. Perhaps one of the biggest problems we face in the modern secular world is orienting ourselves with life narratives or reasons to live. People with depression very often complain that there's no reason for anything. After having suffered many periods of depression myself, I cannot tell you which comes first, the clinical depression or the sense that you've, quote, lost the plot. logotherapists such as Viktor Frankl, and also the existential therapists. Did I say that wrong?
No. I just read his book.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Viktor
about
Frankl?
the logotherapy thing. Yeah, it's interesting.
And also, the existential therapists stress the importance of finding and sticking to a life narrative for good mental health. As Frankl said, paraphrasing Nietzsche, quote, "He who has a why can survive any how." After all, life in modern consumer society is fragmented, and our commitments are increasingly short-term. We increasingly lack a why. We have lost the job for life, the relationship for life, and even the identity for life. And these used to be narratives that rooted us, gave us long-term goals, and guaranteed certain established outcomes for us. Today, many experience that gnawing sense of anomie. Is that how you say it? Anomie?
I always said anomie.
Okay, anomie.
But I'm not really sure.
Diagnosed by Durkheim. Yeah, I read about Durkheim. I don't remember the anomie so much. But that was back in college, so I might have not paid attention too much. A sense that we are
college.
Yeah, I know. A sense that we are uprooted with little moral guidance or standards to follow. A sense also that we are cogs in a wheel, disposable bodies. That what we do in life doesn't really matter. We're alienated from each other and from meaningful life goals. Many of us stumble from one short-term goal to the next, with no sense of a bigger life narrative. And we keep the sense of pointlessness at bay with short-term fixes. This state of, quote, liquid modernity was well diagnosed by Zygmunt Bauman, and I believe this sense of, quote, living without a plot is one reason for this rise in depression in the modern world, especially among the young. Sounds like nihilism to me. Looking at my father, I can see that he had replaced his devoutly Christian mother's explanation of the universe with his own surrogate conspiracy theory. He'd experienced a breakdown after losing his Christian faith, and his new belief allowed him to set life goals accordingly. He and his fellow anti-conspirators would work to overthrow British rule in Scotland. His conspiracy theory also gave him a worldview in which every single thing that happened in the world was tied to the main narrative. Everything was evidence. This could include paperwork that he was convinced was sent to drive him mad, or the rising price of oil. He was, of course, caught up in confirmation bias. That's bias. Confirmation bias, falsification, and circular reasoning, using every bit of, quote, evidence to shore up his greater conspiracy theory, but it gave him energy. So many of us today are overwhelmed by news and digital media, bewildered, and this leads to a sense of powerlessness. I think that's on purpose, by the way, a sense of powerlessness that it's breeding. Not so for my father. Every piece of news backed up his conspiracy theory. The power lines were down. The fishermen were unemployed. It was all part of a conspiracy by the evil British state. He used to love yelling at the TV, quote, "I told you, see?"
Called it. I tried to tell you.
Camaraderie was another benefit that my father got from his conspiracy theory. He had a group of like-minded people who shared his beliefs, and their friendship was deep. Of course, they were scapegoating and creating a straw man, of course.
Of course.
And they walked...
Of course, British imperial rule is good for the subjugated nation.
And they walked around believing that they were the only ones who could see the truth. Other people were blind or were sheep. Quote,
yeah, it's true.
Don't let those is that a bad word if I say it? I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Don't let those fatherless children grind you down. He'd always tell me, believing that we were part of a rebel subclass. I like that. Are we part of a rebel subclass, Basil, you and I, in this podcast?
Not me, man. I support my government.
Oh,
I
that's
believe in coronavirus. Yes. Wear your mask, everybody.
So this gave him a sense of identity and even pride. Just to take stock of the positives, believing in a conspiracy theory gave my father an identity, a life goal, a single way to interpret confusing events, and a deep sense of camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Oh my gosh, how do Is that how you spell that? I don't think I've ever spelled that word.
It's a hard one. If you've never seen it written out before, it's a weird one.
I don't think I've ever spelled that word. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
Camaraderie, yeah. But there was also a darker side to his increasing dependence on his conspiracy theory. Ooh, the dark side. After many years of living under this world narrative about an all-powerful British state, he felt defeated. He'd undermined his own sense of agency. For if the world is run by a secret cabal, be they the Illuminati, the British state, the New World Order, or a web of shadow bankers, then ultimately there is nothing you can do. The more powerful you make them in your fantasy, the less power you have in daily life. The quote, theory of everything eventually undermines all your actions. My father went to the end of his life feeling thoroughly beaten, and it is impossible to say whether the conspiracy theory that at first had empowered him eventually robbed him of his agency, or whether it was simply the mental illness that he'd fled from his conspiracy beliefs that finally found him. Either way, I have compassion for people who are drawn into conspiracy theories. I need to have the need to have a single belief system that explains everything in the world, that pits the forces of good against evil and gives us a meaningful role to play, is very strong in us. And so many of us who ridicule believers in conspiracy theories don't understand that these, quote, nutcases are really just people who need something to believe in. Are we really so different? What belief do we hold that gives us a sense of pride, belonging, and purpose, that puts every confusing fragment of existence into a clear story? Or have we just decided to try to live without these things? Addendum. This is it right here. After my father died, we discovered through a friend in government that my dad had been right about one aspect of his conspiracy theory. They confirmed that he had been a, quote, person of interest in the 1980s, that his phone had indeed been tapped, and that his calls had been recorded and transcribed for many years.
Called it. Called it.
Oh my gosh. What a beautiful way. Oh my gosh. What is this guy thinking?
I tried to tell you.
This is crazy. Edwin Morrison. I looked at his website, by the way. He is a Scottish guy. But yeah, he writes this whole article about his dad was crazy and they thought he was tapping his phone calls and that, you know, the MI5 was keeping an eye on him, yada, yada, yada. Oh, and by the way, it was all true.
It's all true.
That is hilarious.
I got such a kick out of reading this. And I wanted to share it on the show because
oh my gosh,
it's a fantastic ending to the week.
As many things as there are, ridiculous about this article and this guy, I was, when he was at the end and he's just at least trying to build some bridge of understanding. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is better than, all the other articles people are writing on Psychology Today about conspiracy theorists. Okay. Sense making, I get it. Sense making is a big part of just being a human. I can see how, if that's what it takes to build a bridge, that's okay. Oh, by the way, everything my crazy conspiracy theorist dad said ended up being true. Oh, okay. Well,
just throw it in an addendum.
Take your sense making and put it where the sun don't shine. Your dad was right about everything.
What's crazy is that he called his dad. The reason for his dad having those beliefs was because of a mental illness.
Right.
So,
exactly.
You know what's really scary?
And that's a classic conspiracy theorist thing is they're watching me. They're watching me. They're listening to me. They're listening to my calls, which nowadays with the internet and the big data and the government, the NSA, all that stuff, like, yes, they are. That is not a crazy thing to think. And if somebody thinks you're crazy because you think that, get away from them. They're not. They're willfully ignorant and blind just to the way the world is. But yeah, back in 79 when you actively had to tap a phone,
right.
You could say that's a little crazy, but no. This guy was totally right about the whole thing. Well, oh my gosh, that's funny.
I think it's almost sad about this article is that I think this guy, the author here, Ewan Morrison, he himself I think maybe struggles with meaning and purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, that's exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like he's writing this about himself, and his lack of anything to believe in, and the pointlessness, and the just no, I just take my brainwashing, just spoon full of sugar helps the medicine go down type of guy. And then, wow, that's incredible.
And instead of,
it makes me wonder more about his relationship with his father,
right,
rather than his father as an individual.
Right. Yeah, I mean, not to break down the psychological effect of
not for me to go all Freud on Eowyn Morrison here, but it's a lot of times an author doesn't realize how much they're
revealing themselves,
how much they're revealing about themselves rather than their subject matter.
I just found it very an enlightening article by Psychology Today.
Wow, that's a keeper for sure, man.
Yeah,
again,
this is one
I do want to remind everybody. Remember, all these articles are posted on canarycrynewstalk.com in the show notes. Think of it as a resource. Everything we read is use in your own conversations and your own, relationships with people like Eowyn Morrison. But this is a great one. People who are totally, think you're a crazy conspiracy theorist, this might be a good read for them.
I think
except for they probably will ignore it. Honestly, they probably would ignore it. Yeah. They'd probably read it verbatim, be like, oh yeah, turns out his dad was right, but still so sad that he was so crazy.
To me, it sounds like he's also having kind of an identity crisis, based on some of because he's trying to almost justify like, oh, well, maybe there is something good about conspiracy theories. And that's why he started off with the crazy,
it sounds like maybe he might be becoming a little bit of a conspiracy theorist and looking for a way to kind of justify his own change in ideas. It is interesting. And again, I am not a professional knower of things about the relationship between the UK and its island neighbors, Ireland and Scotland. Mm-hmm. But I do find it very fascinating that this guy is Scottish. He's Eowyn Morrison. He is a Scottish guy. And it's very rarely, it's always interesting to find a Scottish or an Irish person who sides so vehemently with the British imperialism that sort of rules, or that imperialized that colonized their culture.
Some
and
Stockholm syndrome going on,
subjugated them, a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. So he's a Scottish guy who's all in on the UK history, the UK telling of history. Because again, not a professional, I'm sure people could learn me something about this stuff. But as I've seen it, most Irish people, Northern Irish and Irish, as well as Scottish people that I've talked to, are they're fine and modern people. Most of them don't hold any grudges, but they recognize that the Brits were really nasty in their colonizing of the area.
Right. Yeah. Well,
looks like we've got a Northern Irish guy in the chat. What's up, Jonathan? Yeah. So, wow, that was a great one. Oh, so as I was saying, make sure to head to canarycrynewstalk.com. And if nothing else, just copy and paste the show notes into your own Word doc. Because, again, you never know when stuff will disappear. But it's just good to have these links.
Yep. And we do have a search bar at the top here. If you go to Canary Cry News Talk, on the top right, there's a little search button there, and you can type in anything, and it'll pull up the episodes where we discuss those issues. So, I want to make a bigger database or a more clear database with something like this, but of course, it's a little bit harder to do, especially 300 episodes in. It would be a pretty tedious task to screenshot every.
Sounds like a job for a producer if they're looking. If they got some spare time.
I don't even know if I want a producer to have to deal with that whole thing. Because you know why I'd want a screenshot is because, or not just maybe a screenshot, but a screenshot of the article is because a lot of these links die over time. You know, they don't last. So
or
if you
get
have
replaced,
or get replaced, yeah. So if you take a snapshot is what I was thinking of, snapshot of the site or the page where the article sits, then we can have a sort of archive of our own.
The Wayback Machine thing.
Similar to the Wayback Machine, although I think they've been kind of not taken over, but they've been seems like compromised a little bit by not being allowed to share certain information from the past. So. Anyway, that is it for today. That's all I got. What do you got? You got anything else?
Okay. No, I'm good. Let's do it. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, it's late.
I haven't been looking at the time. Oh, it is getting late. We got to get out of here. Okay, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, we're going to be circling back around on Monday, the 22nd of February. So tune in then. It'll probably be around the same time in the morning, 10-ish. And thank you to all of our producers of episode 302. That is Shield Labs, Philip E., Tracy, Ciara, Cherie, Charlie, Paula W. Thank you guys so much for swooping in and producing the show. It gave us a what is the word I'm looking for? A breath of relief there. And thank you also to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps over on YouTube. And thanks to our artists, musical and otherwise, Martin B, B-Dubs, Grace, Mike B, Allie, and Aaron. And remember, tomorrow is the Canary Cry meetup on Zoom. Thank you to producer Ciara. You can head to Canary Cry News Talk and look at the canarycrynewstalk.com. Look at the show notes to see the flyer for that again. Send an email to her to get an invite. Yeah, there you go. It's Basil themed. So whatever that means to you, just let your light shine. And yes, I will be making my very best attempt to showing up to that, Gonz. I don't know about you, but we'll see.
It's tough on weekends.
I know. The weekends are a little tough for us. I will be attempting to attend for at least a little bit. Maybe not the full thing, but I do like to pop in and say hello. Okay, there we go. If you haven't done it yet, thank you to all of our reviewers. This was a wonderful week for reviews. And if you want to join that club, go ahead and leave a review for Canary Cry News Talk on Apple Podcast. Again, I can't tell you how much it helps the show to have those reviews and ratings come in. So please do that. We will be reading them next Friday or the Friday after that, depending on how many there are. So thank you very much. Go do that. If you want to become a producer for next show, I'm very grateful to our last minute producers. But if you don't want to freak us out too much, you can do it before the show starts, and you can do that by heading to patreon.com/canarycry. Nope. Sorry. Patreon.com/CCNT. Canary Cry Nope is a fun name for something.
Yeah.
But patreon.com/CCNT, or if you don't like Patreon, head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. And remember, we like to rattle cages around here. So you got people in your life, friends, family, who are starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. Go ahead and share an episode with them. Share it on your social media. Let people know about the show. It's really great. And at the same time, you can enter the Canary Cry Silver giveaway for February here. Just make a social media post, say something nice about the show, leave a link to an episode, and hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and you'll be entered to win that 1 ounce of silver. Thank you to Erin Moffat. Check her out on YouTube. And if you need any other instructions on just how to rattle the cages of those around you, here's what you do. You walk right up, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Once again, folks, we're going to be circling back on Monday, February 22nd, 2021. So be there or be square. Gonz, any last words?
Thank you for joining us again. Join us on Monday. It'll be 2/22/2021. That's the date.
Wow.
For episode 303.
That's right. 303. That's fun.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We will see you there. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Called it.
I tried to tell you.
You can't handle the truth.
Stop this progress before it is too late.
This guy comes to my house. He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies and melt those babies into candles, their skin, and that's supposed to give them more demonic power. And these Satanists came to my house, 5 of them, and threatened my life.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Bye, gold. Bye.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Conspiracy
That's where I started.
Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered.
Just put me on some, I don't know.
Give you a shot in the butt. Fluoride, oxytocin. Get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
All right, weird.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood.
Polytick.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all away.
Poly.
It's Latin for many.
Tick.
Now suck your blood.
Polytick.
Many bloodsuckers.
Politician. Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way.
Politicians are politics.
Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You and you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.